right, guys. So what's going on?
Hello, what's up?
We're on All Things Armwrestling.
Yes, All Things
Armwrestling.
Welcome, guys. We got the Scorpion and we got the Jellyfish, Peter and Arie.
Hello.
I gotta ask you guys. So you guys got that name? I think I named you guys that,
Yep.
and everybody agrees that that's who you guys are. And it's because of the way you guys move on the table. You guys are definitely unique amongst each other and amongst the group. How the hell did you guys find out that we were doing this thing here, this arm wrestling practice?
Jacob. The grip guy.
Oh, the grip guy. And how do you guys know Jacob?
The internet, like, because I know a lot of you guys met on Armbet. It was a Discord or whatever. Like, because there's like arm wrestling Discord.
So you guys are not on Armbet.
No.
You guys find out through Discord.
He has an Armbet.
No, he told me about Armbet.
He has
I
Armbet.
downloaded it.
But it doesn't really
It
matter.
doesn't really. Yeah,
It's not part of the equation, really.
Yeah, no. Actually, and Arie was actually, my brother was actually the one who told me about this place, and also about, well, he's the one that introduced me to arm wrestling.
Yeah.
Well, I just noticed you call him Arie. Is it Arie or Arie?
Either way.
It's Arie.
Oh, because I always say Arie.
No, either one is fine.
Yeah, either one. I mean,
Either one. I like both.
Yeah.
And is Arie short for something?
I think, no, it's not.
No. You know what it is? Like, some people say like ARI, but it's really ARIE on his,
And
so
that's
like,
your full.
it's not like Arie, it's
Right.
Arie.
Yeah.
Well, like we were having this. Me and Deborah were having this discussion about like names like Rod. Like sometimes like it's not even short for anything.
Yeah,
It could be
yeah,
Rodney, but maybe it's just straight up Rod. Like, hey, it's Rod. There's other names that are really short that there's nothing long for, right?
No, that's fair.
But that's what Arie is.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Yeah. All right. So you guys find through Jacob that this thing's happening. And what did Jacob say to you about what the hell this was?
He said that, I don't know how it was. He said there was, I think this was before the Queen stuff stopped, because he said he met with some people and he said there were 2 practices at the time. And he's like, okay, there's one practice that these guys told me about, but there's another one. And he went through, and this is the guy I asked you about. There was this, he went with his friend. There was this guy with like long hair he went with, but he was in the hospital. He had like hand surgery because he messed up his hand or something. I think it was unrelated. I don't know if it was arm wrestling related, but I think he got to hear through that or Armbet. I don't know how he found it exactly, but yeah.
But what did he tell you was going on over here?
Oh, he said that there's a club and we're like, there's tables and stuff. I'm like, okay, well, we got to go. So, and we did. And that was when we came like a half a year ago.
And ever since then, we've just been having a blast.
Yeah. Well, what I love about you guys that's different is you guys come together because you're brothers.
Yeah.
And you're not only twins, but you're triplets.
Yeah.
Right? So I only know you guys as the twins, really, even though you're triplets.
No, that's fair because there's only 2 boys and 1 girl.
Yeah. So it's like you guys come as like this different entity of people. You know,
and when you tell people, they think you're supposed to look the same, but no, we don't.
Oh yeah, there's different types of twins. Yeah, absolutely. And actually, you guys, the more I look at you, the more I see you guys look similar.
Yeah, like there was
guys,
that one guy in the city. Remember, he's like, "Oh, you guys have the same eyes or whatever." It was like that weird stuff. Yeah, it was like that.
You guys have just overall similar structures that are not that apparent at first glance. Like at first, you'd be like, these guys aren't even related.
Yeah,
but it's the more you get used to your looks, your phenotypes, right?
Yeah.
It really, you're like, oh, okay, no, it's
no, you're right. Yeah.
And what's it like with your sister? Does your sister look like you guys or not?
No.
A lot of people would say that my sister kind of looks a little more like me.
Yeah, because
But
so he's the weird one.
Yep.
I mean,
it's like, where did
we
get
got similar like structure.
No, they think you're Irish. They think
in high school they thought that I was an Irish or something.
Oh, that's funny because if you do the accent, it's convincing.
Oh my God! I don't know.
Get the fuck away from me!
Oh, you're
You
down,
fucking prick! You fucking.
Are there any Irish arm wrestling?
No, and everyone thought he was Mexican.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Or
interesting.
Albanian or like whatever. Like
Or
whatever.
Iranian,
Yeah,
right?
and then
Yeah.
for some reason in high school, like some of the people there didn't.
I think we got
they
Bulgarian.
didn't like you.
We got Bulgarian.
They didn't like us because of what? That we were Greek and they were like something. What were they?
Oh no, that was like because I was like there was these people a long time ago. They like found out like what our last name was and stuff, and they were like, "Oh wait, what was that?" Oh, and we told them like, "Oh," and then ever since then they like were very like cold this and treat us differently. But before that they didn't. It's like people assume.
Yeah, no, I mean,
So it's because you have Greek heritage now. That's
I guess because I didn't know like
Yeah.
it's gonna sound weird, but like I didn't know like white people could be racist to other white people.
Yeah,
But no,
that's
it
the
happens.
best racism.
Yeah.
That's, when I moved in here in 1985, all it was all different kinds of white people.
Really?
And all I got was all kinds of racism against my race. And it was just like, wow, this is rough. And then I had to go to a high school that was mostly black.
yeah.
And then I was like, so I got different racism pointed at me from all different sides.
At home and at school.
And meanwhile, I'm sitting here going like, can't we all just get along? But it's like, no,
Yeah.
we're going to fucking do whatever we want to you, right?
They're gonna. Oh jeez.
But anyway, what I want to know is, so you kind of heard that we arm wrestle here, and it's a club, is what
Yeah.
you heard, and
Yeah.
you heard it from Jacob, who actually it's funny because Jacob doesn't come here that often. I think he's been here like maybe 4 or 5 times, but he only comes like every few weeks or every couple months because he's more into grip thing.
Oh, he's grip.
Trying to manage something between strength training and grip. And then whenever he feels like, oh, it's time for arm wrestling, he'll fucking get into it.
Yeah.
But the other question I wanted to know is, before all that shit, how the fuck did you guys find arm wrestling to start? I want to know what got you into arm wrestling.
Well, it all started with basically when we were like in high school. I just noticed. I mean, I'll even go further back. Like I'll explain it.
So you had some weird bug for it a long time ago.
It's kind of weird to explain. It's like a weird thing.
And it came from you, but not from you. And he started it or something?
Not that I started, but I kind of told him about it.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
But
he introduced me to it.
Yeah.
And then I just kind of got into it. So like in high school, I would like arm wrestle like people, like even just like
So you guys are jocks.
No, opposite. No, because I wanted to be the thing where it's like we weren't like Chad or Brad or any of the jock dude bro stuff, but I was like, so I thought it was really weird or funny to me. I'm like, everyone's like, oh, it's a skinny white guy, look at him. And
I
like,
mean, but here's the thing, right? In high school, I would like face guys that are bigger than me, and I would want to challenge myself. And I was shocked because I would
like he shocked himself.
Even if I win or lose, the one thing that my goal is to hold them as long as possible.
Mm.
And if I can at least do that, then I'm satisfied.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like
That's
I don't
good
want
because that means you have a really good level of understanding where your satisfaction is. Because
like,
a lot of people struggle
like I don't
with
really
winning and losing.
I don't really care about losing.
Yeah.
It's more of you learn from the experience and then you keep doing it over and over and over until eventually you surpass what you couldn't before, and that's what losing is not even a bad thing. It can also be a blessing.
Mm-hmm.
Like winning is good too,
Mm-hmm.
but losing can also lead to success in the long run.
Well,
can.
I mean, look, think of it this way. You're getting very philosophical, but that's absolutely the truth because what is life without lots of mistakes to learn from? You're not going to learn anything if you don't make mistakes, and you're not going to get anywhere without like 1,000 failures to have one huge success, right?
And that's what makes us human.
And that's what arm wrestling is.
Yeah.
Losing and losing and losing and losing and then winning and then losing and losing and losing and losing and then winning. And then you get to the top, you get these guys that win a lot,
Like
right?
It's like that thing, the history's greatest loser, like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's like that, yeah. But even before that, I was going to say, like, the reason I thought he would be good at arm wrestling, I had a weird theory. It was like when he was a kid, he broke his left arm.
Oh, doing what?
No. So
Explain
basically, when we were like 7, on one of our birthdays, our mom got us a trampoline, right?
Oh.
And we invited one of our friends. Irene invited one of her friends, and we were on the trampoline, and we were going to play a little game of whack-a-mole. Now, it was not the whack-a-mole that you would think about. It's where two people go under the trampoline. Well, we bash the other two skulls. Now, before I was going to be one of the moles, Michelle D decided it would be a fun idea to tie my foot because it was a netting, like around the trampoline.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There was like a hole that you go into to go into the trampoline.
Uh-huh.
And basically, there was like a tie that she tied my foot. As soon as I jumped off, I hit my head on the metal part of the trampoline. She unties my foot, and it dislocates like right here.
That's how it broke.
Yeah, and for a whole year I had to wear a cast.
Oh, wow.
And she was like laughing. And then our ex-friend Mike was just like, hey, you're in pain or something, you know? I just want
to say, the reason why I think it's really the arm wrestling, my theory is, I think when that happened, like you have
and also I had to do like physical therapy too.
Yeah, that too.
Like I was not able to move my arm at all. And I had to lift first like cans, you know, like corn and all that. And then I had to get to bigger.
Is there video of that thing when it happened?
No,
damn,
this
that was probably really funny.
Yeah,
this
right?
was when
but not funny at all.
No,
Yeah.
it sucked because I couldn't use my arm for a whole year.
Wow.
And I only can use this one.
Was it a
time.
difficult surgery?
No, they didn't.
No, I had no surgery.
No
So it healed
surgery.
on its own.
All they had to do was cast it.
Cast it. That's
And
it.
then because you were in a cast, you were fucked because you had to learn mobility again, right?
Yes. And I broke it at a young age.
Hmm.
You know,
No, but I was gonna
it
say,
took me
I
a while.
think that my theory is like, you know how you hear arm wrestlers like they always break their arm, but it's their arm wrestling arm and that one gets stronger. I have a different one. I was like, because your not dominant arm broke, maybe your dominant one, because you had to only use your dominant one for a whole year. Because I also noticed another thing, because even the Jacob guy said, remember that weird grip thing he did when he shook your hand? He's like testing you for some reason. The
He
grip
has
guy.
a weird handshake.
Yeah, he was testing his handshake. Remember all like the older like boomer type like guys are like in their 40s and 50s and like
Yeah.
they always like try to do the chicken on you. Like you know how you shake
What's the chicken?
Peter, okay, like look, I don't know if you can see it, but you shake their hand and it's like you squeeze their hand and whoever's hand crumbles up in the other guy's hands, like you
Yeah.
lose and they win.
So it's a game of chicken?
Like whoever can squeeze the other guy's hands. Like you know that
So
Dylan
it's like you deliberately try to crush the other guy's
it's
hand?
like the newer version of like Dylan, you son of a bitch. You're
Or
not
like
bad."
like a
It's like-
say uncle kind of thing.
Yeah.
You know, and
So he tested
Yeah.
his arm. He's like, "Oh wow, you actually have a grip." And he's like, "It doesn't look like it." So it was like stuff like that.
Jacob's really into grip.
Him and this other dude, Ivan, that kid who
Yeah.
closed the number 4 thing. That that kid, him and him are like grip people.
Here's the thing about Jacob and grip. So Jacob has really short bone length.
yeah.
So his anthropometry for the arm wrestling sport on the table requires him to have an incredible grip for him to be successful. So I know he wasn't thinking that or he didn't know that. He just naturally loves grip. So for him, it's really important to have an incredible grip strength at the table so that once he has you really tight, he pulls you down sideways with back pressure.
And another thing
And that's what he does.
they also, I found out with people who are a certain height, they're allowed to give them like a thing to stand on.
Yeah, there's a 4-inch riser.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So he could also do that.
Yeah, and actually, because I want to build one for shorter people
Mhm.
because I don't have one. We haven't implemented that, but it's weird because if he gets used to arm wrestling without a riser, when you get on there on the riser and you're up there, now it's different, and now you feel like you don't know what to do. So that might be a problem for him.
Yeah.
But the thing about Jacob is he's young and he's got a promising future ahead of him.
He's in a lot of sports. I know he said wrestling.
So he's trying to
powerlifting.
balance a lot of things. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, yeah.
So the thing about arm wrestling that I didn't hear you explain though is how you got into it, when and how for so long before you ended up getting so serious. They're like, let's go to this place.
Basically, I was like, I was thinking at the time when we were kids, we saw, like all the arm wrestling stuff, but the videos, there was like videos, And I think what was the first ever arm wrestling video you saw? I think, was it that Leviathan dude? I can't pronounce his name.
Who's that?
What's his name? Richard? Who's the guy?
Richard Lupkes?
Lupkes? The giant?
That's his favorite guy.
The Leviathan.
Is that his name?
Like,
they call him the Leviathan?
They call him the Leviathan.
Oh, okay.
No, and I saw, after just watching that, I said to myself, I hope that one day, I mean, I can be that strong when I'm like old, you know? I mean, to be that strong at that age, I mean, that's an achievement right there. And, you know, not everyone can do like what he has done to his body. I mean,
let me tell
crazy.
you what I learned about Richard Lupkes, because I think that's how you pronounce his name. Some people have problems pronouncing his name, even John Brzenk. So the cool thing is, John Brzenk spoke about Richard Lupkes. Or Lupkes, somebody say Lupkes, whatever, right? The thing that I just learned from what Brzenk said about him was very inspiring. So this Leviathan was only doing arm wrestling for fun, and what he really loved more than anything is strength training, and he just wanted to be huge and strong. And he was so scary, frightening, and strong and unbeatable at the arm wrestling table, but he didn't have to go all in on arm wrestling. So all he did is he happened to be really good at arm wrestling by being such a monster and so strong through strength training.
Yeah.
And I thought that's so refreshing, because I started out thinking the only way you're going to get good at arm wrestling is by practicing arm wrestling, and you need to leave strength training behind because it's going to take away from your arm wrestling.
No, yeah, I was about to say there's a lot of people who think like that technique is, technique is important, but I also see it as, I feel like strength lets you use the technique. So
it's different for each person.
Yeah.
Too. So like if you were Richard Lupkes and you were built that way and you're such a monster and you can do the strength feats that he did, so then you have the body that he has, yeah, it's undeniable. You're going to destroy anybody on the table, right? But then when you kind of don't have that gift, you're going to have to rely more on focusing very acutely on what to do at the table and gaining these little strengths like a snake. Yeah. You know, because look at snakes, right? Snakes can kill unbelievably quickly, and they can eat an entire animal, and they have to do that to survive. But they're not big muscular animals. They're just a tube with a mouth. You know what I mean? So in a way, arm wrestling, you can be a snake, or you can be a horse, or you can be an ox, or you can be a scorpion, right?
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Right? Or a jellyfish. I mean, you decide. And like, I think if you decide, who am I? How do I operate the most to my benefit to win over people?
Yeah.
Like, you're going to have to sting people, right? You're going to sting, right? This guy, you could sting.
Jellyfish.
Different kind of sting.
But it's like, you've got like a different thing about you.
I mean, for me, the reason why I feel like me and Pete got into the way we do that is for two reasons. One, I've noticed that this is a weird thing, and maybe this isn't true, but I've noticed a lot of beginner arm wrestler people, that's the way they actually start arm wrestling. Like, that's the move they try to do. And a lot of people, I was surprised with you when the first time, you didn't tell us to not do it, because we actually get a lot of people like, Hat Dude, they're like, I don't want to arm wrestle, please don't do that, I can't.
Well, what is the move that you're talking about?
Like this, they don't like it when I give
So you're saying that a lot of people,
they really don't like that.
They don't want flops.
I'm not trying to compare it to, how people say the King's move and shit, it's weird, it's like a new King's move. Because people like complain about they don't like it, and then they try to do it, but then they can't do it, and they're like, "Wait, I tried to copy you, but I can't do it. So you're just doing this though." It's like in practice, because I guess I don't know if they try to make a point or say, "Oh, I can do it too."
Here's my argument for why that's stupid, right?
Okay.
So, to me, most everyone I know is not going to flop press. So when you guys come in here and you guys are fucking floppers, right? You guys are the king of flop, right? You guys are flop kings, right? So now that is so different from everyone else. And it's a move. And you better know how to deal with a flop, whether you fucking like it or not.
No,
right?
that's why we like the straps.
So that's why I'm like, yeah, we need to figure it out. So like, you know, if you hate it and you don't want to deal with that in practice because you think someone shouldn't be flopping, well, one day someone's going to flop you and you're going to lose and you're not going to know what to do and you're going to feel stupid.
That's why we like
at a tournament.
Straps too, because I tell people, like, I know if you don't want to do it, like, I'll strap. And even if I lose or win or whatever, it's also because straps, it's also like a other kind of arm wrestling too. And there's a lot of people, I think, they wouldn't be into arm wrestling today if it wasn't for a few things. If it wasn't for the technique stuff.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for the table. Because I don't think people, okay, there's freedom arm wrestling, but then you'd have to like wear a sweater, wear that thing.
It's a totally different thing, freedom in a way.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Like when you go to tournament.
And another weird thing is
it's not the same as
arm wrestling
when you're arm wrestling just normally.
Yeah.
It's going to be because there are rules, and if you mess up those rules, you will be disqualified.
You could lose based on rules.
Yeah, I want to go into that about the tournaments, like for the first time when they were like doing that too. But I also want to say, like, I think arm wrestling soon is going to become like how we have all the celebrity dudes in arm wrestling. Like, I feel like we're going to get all the fitness celebrity influencer type people into it, and they're going to get their people into it, and then it might be a culture shock.
Well, it's funny that you say it that way because I don't think I ever talked to you guys about that. But that's why I started this podcast, because I know that all those people that are just like fucking bench press bros and fucking pec dudes and fucking like, look at my fucking abs for the last 7 years. And yeah, I'm natty and check it out. Let's go grab the barbells and fucking whatever the fuck they do all day long, where I don't even know how anybody even gives a shit after 3 months.
Yeah.
They're going to end up arm wrestling.
Yeah.
You know, or they're going to run away from arm wrestling because they know they don't want to do it, right?
And the sad thing is we know people like that. Like you said about like your cousin who's like labor guy, construction.
Right.
And that's why I was like, when James was into it, I was like, oh shit. It could be like your cousin if he was into it.
Yeah, right.
Because, you know, people like that, they like, when you find other people who can do that, like I want to see that super match, like people who have like similar backgrounds and they get into it like that. Like a flopper versus a flopper, a king's move versus a king move or something. Yeah.
Yeah, it's always different. So like the thing that I love the most about it is you guys are just another two guys to add to the amount of guys that are different. Mm-hmm. So you always want different guys because then you have such a different amount of variables that it's never the same and never boring. Like if it's boring to you that you're pulling with 10 different guys, even 10 to 15 different guys, even on a regular basis, if that gets boring to you, there's something wrong with you.
Yeah.
Because you're not realizing just the difference between two different people.
No, we're thrilled we're thrilled even if it's only just you or somebody else. That's great because listen, there's you guys.
Sometimes that's what it is.
Yeah. Because we have to travel, go so far, but like even like with the tournaments, like remember when we went to the first tournaments and that was even a culture thing for James because when James went, he was like, wait, are they allowed to do that?
I mean,
and this, I'm like, I even saw some new things I didn't see in videos because in person, I saw the practice, but I saw stuff they were doing on stage that they didn't even do at the practice. And I'm like, the one dude was jumping, the other guy was like, I was like,
yeah, wouldn't you guys say that the aggression level, the speed and aggression is the main difference?
Even from the fans, the aggression, yeah.
I mean, I can say when I first went to a tournament with Arie and James, I mean, at first I was a little nervous because I've never been to a tournament before. And then when I went up on that stage, I mean, it's so like terrifying because the weird thing is how they position your arm. And it just didn't feel right to me because
because now you got to deal with the reffing.
Yeah, because it's like he was molesting my arm. It's like
he wanted it to put. Yeah, he wanted it in a place where you were like,
yeah, that's a good boy. Yeah, it was kind of like that. And then it was like the guy that I was versing was like, get your fat ass over here. It's like going down. It's like, what the fuck is happening? It was crazy.
He literally said that?
No, it was no.
He's actually a very nice guy. He's a very
nice guy. No, the guy I was facing was really, really nice guy.
Yeah,
very nice. And we got his Instagram too.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
No, he did the top roll shit. And that was the first time, like, you know, the whole like back pressure top roll stuff. That was the first time where I saw like a great example of that. Because also the feet thing, because I was on this thing, I noticed his everything, his way, the body and the feet and everything was positioned. He was like holding like
he was like,
and he was just like random, like waiting. I guess you said
like
you were trying
putting
to
your knuckles.
You said your plan was your plan is you just want to do you and just catch them and try to hold them or get in defense. But sometimes the people are so fast. Like the second tournament that Uzbekistan, dude, he did it so hard. You were still going for it, and you actually pushed his elbow off the pad because you were still going, and he stopped because you didn't realize that it was that fast. It was like crazy, just like the Europeans to see the way they are.
But also, I think that the one good thing I love about like these tournaments also is that they have like even after the tournament, you can like still arm wrestle.
Yeah,
with other
that's
people,
the best part.
Meet new people.
Well, the side tables are really that's the exciting part.
Yeah, where you can just like arm wrestle people and just have fun.
That's where we met all those people. Like there was that grip guy that James met, and he was like saying, "Oh, you use the captains or all that." And that guy, he's like doing pull-ups with stuff tied to him, and I'm like, "What?"
Wait, do you remember that old man that got really pissed at you?
There's a guy named Nitro who got really. He was. I don't know if
he hated Arie.
What did you do, Arie?
I was arm wrestling with some other guy, and he saw it. I don't know if he was.
He
drunk.
fucked up, huh?
No, I don't know if
you
he was
pissed off Nitro. You can't piss off Nitro.
No, I
What's
saw
wrong
because
with
he had
you?
the shirt, and then he was telling me about all of his achievements, and like, dude, do you know me? I've been everywhere. And it's like, no, he didn't talk like that, but it was like an older guy kind of thing.
You know who I am?
Yeah. And I was like, and then it was like he was telling me everything, and he was actually telling James, like, this guy, he's like, he's not doing it. I got to show him.
He's the jellyfish.
No, I tried doing the flop. He's like, don't do that. Don't do that. And then he was like telling me how to top roll. He's like, I guess, I don't know, maybe top roll is his favorite, so he was telling me how to top roll. I've noticed a lot of people, when they teach people, it's weird. They don't like let them do their style.
Yeah.
They tell them what they're good at, and they tell the other guy. It's like, the whole thing with that Travis Bajan, how he's like, I tell other people to do arm wrestling how I do it, and they can take whatever they want from that.
I mean, I just want to say this. To me, like, even when I'm doing arm wrestling or, like I do it for two reasons. One, because I love doing it, with my brother, because it's like
well,
like
that's
a
what's
bonding
awesome
thing,
is you guys actually have each other to arm wrestle all day long.
We don't have a table or weights or anything. I'll explain first though. You do your thing.
No, but then the second thing, I'm trying to think what this. Actually, no. You know what? I forgot. No. There was a second thing that I was going to say. But
let me revive your memory. Come on, dude.
What do you think it was?
I don't know.
Maybe there wasn't two things. Maybe there was only one thing.
Okay.
Wait. Maybe it will come to me.
I'm just gonna edit. Okay, I'll just say we basically, because we don't got weights or table. I said this is random. If we tell people at the practice, they're like, you practice like that?
Oh wait, I remember now.
Okay.
The second thing is, like, for me, I love doing what I want on the table.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, honestly, I don't like when somebody tells me how to arm wrestle. When I arm wrestle, I don't care if I'm really looking at my hand. When I want to go all out.
But you got to do all looking at yourself.
Like I do, but I love like going in that rage mode, you know? And I just love that rush, just like getting in there,
No, but
and not like in a bad way, but what I mean. Yeah.
So what you mean is, like, when you're arm wrestling, there's always some fucking Nazi saying, look at your hand, right? That's what you mean. And then sometimes you're not, because you're so into it. Yeah. And it gets so not emotional. It gets so like aggressively.
It's so exhilarating.
Yeah.
It's
you're
like
just
fun.
You're just like, I don't want to think about looking at my hand. I just want to do it.
Exactly. And then you go to a tournament and there's all these like, oh, you can't do this. You need to do this.
Yeah.
And it's like,
why?
Why
and then
should
it's
I
weird,
do
I
this?
guess, in practice.
Isn't this arm wrestling?
That's good. That means
let's just go all out.
That means everything you're doing is like
wrong.
And I'm not
fringe.
I'm not trying to go against the rules or whatever. I'm not trying to be like on the edge or on the curve or whatever. But it's like there's people in practice and they feel different than in practice in tournament. Like sometimes I'm like, they didn't feel like this in tournament. They felt easier in practice, or vice for other way around.
I mean, this is what I think. I think that when you're doing, I think the one thing in the future, I'm not saying that they'll ever do it, but in the future, they should allow people to arm wrestle in the way they feel comfortable doing.
Dude, as long as you're within the rules, you can do anything you want, right?
Yeah.
And the thing is, that's how the sport gets, that's how it progresses, right? That's how it evolves. And not just arm wrestling, but it's the people that do their own thing that's different that people don't like, and they tell you can't do that. Those are the people that move everything ahead. Yeah. So that's why I always say, fuck those guys. And I'm always the first one to be like, let's see what you do. And the only thing that I'm going to tell you when I say don't do that, it'll be because you're breaking a rule, not because I don't like that you're flopping, or that like I'll be like, yo, maybe don't move your body that way that much because then you'll foul. Like I'll tell you that. So I'm not worried about like how you look or how you're supposed to top roll or not if you don't want to top roll. Yeah. I'm not into that.
No, that's true. But there's other things like related to the rule stuff. Like I hope the future stays like, whatever, because I don't know if this is weird to say, but I'm worried in the future of pushing certain people away from the sport also, because like, how like there's people like girls who get into the sport. And that's the serious, because there's one, I don't know, I think their name is Robin.
Who's that?
I found out there's a I don't know if they're professional, but they practice with the world's best female arm wrestlers. There's this, I hope I'm getting the name right. It's Robin Chandler, I think.
Robin Chandler, yeah.
I think the name is Robin Chandler. Maybe I'm getting it wrong. I know the first name's Robin. But it's a person who was a guy, but now they became
a woman.
But now they're arm wrestling. I heard that, and they were arm wrestling girls. And I heard stories about like the girls that they arm wrestled against kind of get like a little like demoralized or demoted because, they and there's not a lot of girls in arm wrestling. So, and they felt it sucked because like they don't want to get out the few girls they have in the sport because they're demoralized because like I did all this practice and I'm going to practice. I really like it. I enjoy it. I love it. And then this dude who's not a dude, I guess.
Anymore, right?
Yeah, no, now you have this like...
Now he's woman of the year on the table, right?
Yeah, but now you have like this man who changed himself into a woman. And it's not fair to the women that work hard to become as strong as they are. And because, it's like they're facing a guy who's pretending to be a girl.
Well, look, it's a very controversial topic if it is a problem. So like... Let's put it this way. Okay. I always used to joke that I suck at arm wrestling so bad that all I should do is switch to a woman.
But the thing is...
And then I'll fucking kill, and I'll be like, here we go, I'm great now, I feel so good, right?
The joke that you're saying, it's not going to be a joke soon, I think. Though.
Right.
I feel
But so what I'm saying is, if this arm wrestler, Robin, goes against the best of women and still loses, well, then it's not a fucking problem now,
No,
right?
I think that's actually the case. I think they were losing to like... that the Swedish people or the Russian people, because I guess those are the best.
Well, like Sarah Bachman, right? She's probably like the closest thing to like the strongest woman in the sport, even though she does lose sometimes. She has off days, and she's, there's other strong women that can beat her, because remember, it's a technique sport also, so it's not just all strength. And maybe Robin, it doesn't matter if you're a guy or a girl, if you got certain technique. Yeah. And, I mean, strength does matter. That's why we have weight classes. You know what I mean? So certain people can't be as strong in certain weight classes, but there are some people that are so strong that they can transcend weight classes. John Brzenk is the king of that, right? Yeah. Always a sub 200 guy until recently, and destroyed people, right? Yeah. He's been destroying people since he's been 19 years old at least, right? Yeah. So, the thing I like about the sport is, like you said, it's not about winning all the time.
Yeah, and
it's like, what is your joy that you get?
Even the way we train, even it's like that's the thing. Other people, like besides like not only tell you the way to arm wrestle, some people say, "Well, I think this is the way you should train." But the thing is, people assume, like, let's say you don't tell people how you train and you arm wrestle like the way they prefer, the way I guess they like, and then they don't complain about the way you train because they don't know how you train. But then when I tell them how you train. It wasn't a problem before, but then when I told him how he trained, I'm like, oh, well, you can't do that. I'm like, but wasn't it working before until I told you that? Now you have because when I told people that we do, it's going to sound dumb, and I'm not even like saying it's our idea. People probably do this all the time. You got to make it work. Like air arm wrestling. What we do is like me and him, we will just like grip in the air. We'll just do air arm wrestling. So basically arm wrestling.
No table.
Arm wrestling while standing.
Yes.
Yeah. So it will be like this.
But dude, that's people do that. You know, nothing wrong with that. Devon Larratt does that all the time.
Yeah. But like, and that's why I'm surprised. I'm like, you've seen people. Why is that weird if you've seen other people do that and all this stuff? And it's like, you know, and like what you're saying about Richard and the strength. Like sometimes with certain people, I'm not saying everybody, but you can do that and, you know, and it works. Or like even like using people as weights, like trying to pick. Okay, no, that's getting a little crazy.
You mean like
trying to
see if you can pick them up?
Yeah, with like, like, so instead of working out with weights, you work out with people.
With people, yeah. Little,
like,
smaller women.
And sometimes, sometimes people can be the best weights.
Oh my God.
You guys,
and if you think about it,
time,
if you think about it, because the advantage people have over weights is a weight is like just solid and it's like fixed. And it's just like
it's dead weight.
It's like, but people, you know, they're all like,
it's
moving.
harder to move them.
And they're all
wobbling.
Like, all over, like they're like, everything's all like, all over the place.
Yeah.
It's hard. It's like, that's the thing. Like, you ever seen those arm wrestling videos where it's people and they have like those bands and they arm wrestle and it's like shaking in their hand, or like they arm wrestle and they're like doing like presses or curls, but it's all wobbly and shit.
Yes.
It's like that kind of, I guess, but yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh.
Well, it's, you know, you brought up an interesting point with hormonal transitioning, right?
Yes.
So hormonal transitioning is not going away, but what is going to change is the way people, I think, react to it. You know, so I think the whole problem with hormonal transitioning and going into sports is, you know, allowing unfair competition.
They do it in other sports
it's clearly
too.
Unfair, but then, you know, also sensitivity to the subject, right? Where it's like the sensitivity ruins everything. So those are the problems. But let's kind of get off of that topic and just talk about regular stuff that we would do, right? So how long have you guys been arm wrestling now?
I think we want to say 2018 or 2017. I don't know.
So like a year or two.
Yeah.
I guess, yeah.
I think so. Yeah, like a year or two.
It's only this year with the table.
Well, that's how I count it. So like when I got the table, it was 2 years ago this month. But I only count the last year as training because when I started training weekly nonstop, that's when it seemed to matter. And that's when I realized, I don't count that first year because I just feel like I wasn't really going disciplined and wasn't going hard. So I've been doing it, I would say a year. But what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to build up those first 3 years because those first 3 years, we really need that solid foundation. So you guys are in the first year, right? So what have you guys learned in that first year about how your bodies are responding to it?
It's going to sound weird. I think we can agree, right? Do you think that it's going to sound weird? I think we skipped or we basically went through, you know, everyone says when they arm wrestle for the first time, they get some crazy pain for days and days and days.
Yeah, I did have that. Yeah.
We got pain, but it was not like when we did, now I'm not going to say normal arm wrestling, but when we did arm wrestling before a table, I think the pain was way worse.
Oh yeah. Now when we do it,
I think the table makes it less painful.
Now when we do it, I don't feel it.
No.
Sometimes.
That's usually what happens. You've overcome that hump.
Yeah.
It's usually like the first 3 months.
Yeah.
Most people can't handle the pain.
I think the table made it less painful, like, because when you're doing just a regular one where it's like people like going side to side, I never realized I'm like the table makes it feel way better. Because when you do that, I'm like, what?
So you're saying the table restricts your motion to something specific, so that's why it otherwise you're doing too much shit, right? That's what you mean? Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't know. I just thought it was like interesting that I feel like we skipped it over and we didn't even realize it because everyone's like, that's the biggest hurdle. Everyone's like, when they just start, and they're like, that's the thing where most people jump ship or stay in it because they're like, you know what? I can't take the pain. I gotta work, man. I gotta, you know.
I just want to say this, but also because of like the training that we do, I feel that my arms did get a lot stronger.
Yeah, that's inevitable.
And
but I think by like you mean like because you have people worried about your arm breaking. I feel like it's gonna sound crazy, but I feel like there's a dude on the internet, like there's an arm wrestling guy, is an Australian dude, the Jules, the curse lifts guy, and there's the video. That guy, he does all these awkward and like cringe and crazy weird positions. And if you look him up, it's like people are like, I would never do that. That's just asking for your arm to like go. But you know, it's gonna say there's a Todd Hutchings quote that somebody said, and it was like, I maybe I'm butchering a quote, but it was something like, when you do what other people won't, you're gonna do what other people can't. So that's the kind of the mentality I look at with Pete. I was like, I don't know, him or me, we're not afraid of breaking our arms, I guess. And everyone's always worried about us at the table. They're always like,
well,
oh,
you guys, when you do what you do, because you guys, I think, are flexible in a different way.
Yeah.
And maybe because the way you guys have been training together at home without a table, you guys have trained your tendon strength to do crazy shit. So when people see you do your stuff, it looks scary.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. Yeah.
But because I know that about you guys, sometimes I will, if it gets too extreme, I'll tell you guys like stop. But otherwise, I never do.
No, you're right.
And the thing about you guys doing weird and different shit, the most important thing is the last thing you ever want to do to anybody, right? Imagine if you're a father and you do this to your fucking kid. Oh. You don't like what your kid is doing because it's not within the rules, and you stop their uniqueness, you know, the thing that makes them special. It's like you could snuff out the one thing that'll make that kid.
You could still keep it, just make it safe.
Amazing, right? Or like a world famous individual, you know, like I'll give you an example. Like if somebody told Eddie Van Halen to stop fucking playing guitar the way he did because no one does it that way, we never would have had Eddie Van Halen, right? Yeah. So same thing with arm wrestling. Like when you guys look crazy and people don't like it, good for them, man. Let them fucking deal with it. Because after the first 3 years and you guys are fully well-rounded arm wrestlers, can you imagine what the fuck you're going to do with that crazy shit? I just want to say,
you're not going to believe it. There was somebody at the first one I went to right before the Nitro thing, this older arm wrestler guy, and he was telling me, oh yeah, I think it's not that weird what you're doing, because he was even telling me you could foul other people out if you push them off the pad. I didn't even know you could do that.
It's strategy.
And people were telling me about it. I'm like, what? And then he was telling me, you know what? That's not really that bad, because and I don't know if this is good advice or not, but it was interesting. He said, and he was an old arm wrestler, so I kind of believe him. I was like, if you do this for like 3 years and you still haven't broken your arm, you're probably not going to break your arm.
Right, yeah.
Because he says, if you can get away with doing all that crazy stuff, because for some reason, I don't know why, I've heard 3 years, that number, a lot for some reason. I guess it's like, you know how people say, oh, it takes 10,000 hours to master something? I always hear, and somebody else even said, oh, if you do arm wrestling for 3 years, that's where you can like get your strength, but then you can focus on technique. But I don't know why I keep hearing that number.
Well, the reason why is because everyone kind of agrees that in their experience of arm wrestling, their first 3 years is when their tendon strength solidifies.
Okay.
And that's what everyone says. Now, the 10,000 hour thing, that's Malcolm Gladwell talking out of his ass when he wrote that fucking stupid book that everyone loves to quote because it sounds nice.
I don't even know how many days.
And I fucking hate that quote because it's so stupid. But I understand why.
Yeah, like I've heard people say this, but I don't even believe in that, because I also think it's like you said with arm wrestling. I think it's different for everybody. Like, you know how some people pick up arm wrestling and they may not be talented at it, but at the same time, that might be the thing keeping them in because they want to get good at it. But then there's the talented people who are good from the beginning, so they were like, oh, well, yeah.
I suck at arm wrestling so bad because I never have the natural hand strength. I don't have the forearm development, and I don't have a natural good flexion, which you guys are always flopping, so you guys can relate with the flexion thing.
No, you're absolutely right. Yeah.
So, but the reason why I say it that way is not because I'm so bad at it. It's just that in comparison to people that I know that are gifted, who don't even have to think about it. Yeah, I'm the worst, right? So what's cool about it is I'm like, okay, well, I just have fun with it because I see all these people that are great at it, and we're all having fun together, and we get to learn all this cool stuff, right? That's what it's all about to me.
Yeah.
But what's really cool is that as you put those first 3 years in, as you get better and you're in uncharted territory because you had no idea what it's going to be like, as you're getting stronger, you start to realize strengths in your weaknesses that you're opening up through epigenetic intervention by arm wrestling.
Oh yeah,
and then you're like, this is uncharted territory.
No, it's great you said that word, epigenetic, because like I heard a thing in school where I think it's stupid, where it was a weird example. They're like, okay, so if two fat people have a kid, that kid's not going to be fat. Well, okay, yeah, kind of true, but at the same time, you're also
who said this?
I had a teacher. I know
it was a class.
It was a class. It was
where it's fat people having a kid.
Yeah, because they were talking about genetic, and they were like, it was on a paper. I was like, wait, but then I thought about it, and I mean, I can get deeper into the after, but I was like, okay, your kid's not going to be born fat, but you're setting that kid up to be like, he might be genetically prone, because people don't think about this. And this is a crazy thing. People don't think about it, but everything you do in your life, and when you have that kid, everything you did in your life, it's going to go to that kid, because epigenetics is like all the stuff you do in your life and how it affects
your environment. Yeah.
Actually, wait a minute. For an example, like our ex-friend Michael and his siblings.
Yeah.
How they became like so obese at such a young age.
Yeah.
It's like crazy.
Yeah. It's like, because you don't think about like everything, like, you know how people, like, they don't think about what they eat, they don't think about their health, and they don't think about how that could affect their kid, right? Because I don't know, people, they just have the mentality, well, okay, your kid's just going to be your kid, and that's just how it is. But you don't know how subtle it is over generation, how that can like slowly build up and catch up, and
Well, here's the way I look at the positive spin of epigenetics, because everything you said is right, but I want to expound on that a little and focus on arm wrestling, because it is a fact, and they've done studies, epigenetic studies. So it is a fact. They realized that just through epigenetic environmental behavior augmentation, an unbelievable to them amount of genes express just through epigenetics, so much that you can change more than you can imagine epigenetically. So through your environment and through your behavior, you can turn genes on and off at an incredible rate, as opposed to discounting that and just going through what you think is just genetic autopilot. So just with that general idea in mind, what do you think you're doing every time you're arm wrestling, week in, week out? You are changing your body so that after 3 years, you're not even going to be the same creature.
No, but even their kids won't be the same. They'll be like, you know how, what is it, like Cro-Magnon or whatever? You're going to have like Crow-Humo-Humorous or whatever the heck.
Well, there was a stupid movie that I watched recently on Netflix. So if you want to watch a really shitty movie, let me see I forget what this movie was called, but there was a guy like that where it was a bunch of army motherfuckers, Navy SEALs or some shit.
Yeah.
And it was in the future, like 2100 or some shit, or 2150, and the Earth was going to shit, right? Climate change and all that shit, I guess, right? And they had these like people.
Was it the blue people? No.
No. What the fuck was the name of this stupid movie? It was like the premise of the movie was that they were going to go to the Saturn moon Titan.
Yeah.
And start life all over there because Earth was fucked. Yeah. But in order to do that, they had to get these fucking like 10 or 12 or 13 fucking army motherfuckers to agree to these experiments that were genetic to turn them into another species. And it was like Homo Titanius or some shit like that.
Oh my God.
So it sounds like it could be a good movie, but it was just kind of like...
Now, if you think about it, because John Brzenk's dad was an arm wrestler. Maybe also you could argue, oh look, his dad was an arm wrestler. He's an arm wrestler.
Dude, yeah, well, the apple don't fall far from the tree, right?
Yeah.
I mean, and his father trained him at an early age. That's what turned him into that epigenetically. That's what that is.
Oh yeah,
that's epigenetics right there. His father telling him, "No, you will do it like this, loser." You ever hear John Brzenk say that the worst thing ever for him was to arm wrestle his dad because he was so critical. So like that's why he's so good. He had that ingrained in him as a teenager.
Oh my god,
to fucking win like a motherfucker.
No, that's like the thing. Like you're not gonna be good. You're gonna do good at football, and you're gonna become the best cheerleader, and you're gonna yeah. Oh my god,
you better be the fucking prom king, you son of a bitch, or I'll whoop your ass. Right?
Yeah. Oh man,
I was the prom king. My dad was the prom king. You come from a long line of prom kings. You better not fuck this up.
Dad, I don't want. No, it's like, fuck, I don't want to be a hooker. I want to be a top roller. Get that finger fairy walking out of my house.
What are you trying to be, a flop king?
What?
There ain't no room in this family for no flop kings.
What is that? That don't even make. What is that? What is that? Oh man! Oh god!
You want to be a limp-wristed little sissy boy, right?
Yeah. Oh my dude, the guy from what's that movie? He's like slack-jawed, God, like that. Who's the dude from the wrestler guy?
Randy Savage?
The body.
Oh,
he was like, goddamn limp-wristed, slack-jawed.
You talking about who the hell was the body?
Jesse
Ventura was the body.
And dude, he's actually him and that what's it called? That one guy. Who's that other guy? Alex Jones. They know each other, or they knew each other. I don't know.
They're fast friends.
I was like surprised. I was like a politician, wrestler guy, and that guy. I was like, whoa, damn. It's like with arm wrestling. Like in arm wrestling, this is the only thing that made us meet because there's so many people. I feel like out of all sports, arm wrestling is the one sport where everyone's so different. But everyone has arm wrestling in common, and it's like crazy. So, we would have never met you if it was for arm wrestling. You told us that.
Well, what I like about arm wrestling is it's like an equalizer. So you don't have to talk about politics. We're all here to do this arm wrestling thing, and there have to be certain things to allow us to arm wrestle, right? So if there's things that stop us from arm wrestling, now we can't do it, and now it's no good. So we're not going to agree to that bullshit. So all we do is agree that we can do this, so that we can keep on doing this. It's like when the gyms were shut down with COVID. Yeah. Like, imagine your life is the fucking gym, and now you can't go there, and it's shut down. What are you going to do? You know how many people felt that way in a way, right? So arm wrestling kind of, all you need is a table at home and people to come over, so it doesn't shut down. So you still get to do it, and you don't have to get into other bullshit. You could just arm wrestle because that's fun. Yeah, that's your point, right?
Yeah.
So what I was trying to get into earlier with this epigenetics thing and this hormonal thing, is I asked you guys what was it like in the first year for your bodies to adapt, right? So what have you guys realized or thought about trying to test about sleep, diet, recovery?
I was gonna say, I've noticed the tournaments. The thing is, I remember when you went to the tournaments. I don't think did you sleep the previous day? You said you didn't sleep.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, that's another thing. We gotta figure something out. Like we gotta somehow get more sleep. Also, training to the day of, that was a mistake. We should, because I hear a lot of people, they tell us after, remember that Chandler talking about, and that guy even said it, this arm wrestling secrets or whatever. And I was like, holy crap.
A lot of guys say you need to not arm wrestle for 10 days before.
I feel like we gave everyone else the advantage, because we didn't know what's the appropriate thing to do for your first tournament, even your second tournament. Because, training we thought, you're improving every day. Because it's you train enough where you kind of feel it, but you're not sore, so you can go to the next day and the next day. And we thought, it's like that nuclei or stimuli overload thing or whatever, but it's really not, because your muscle isn't your bones or your joints and shit. It's different. And so we got to work on that. And well, as you said, diet or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's related to the supplements and all that.
Yeah. So what about supplements? Like besides eating fucking meat and drinking, what do you guys drink mostly for?
Just water.
Just water. Okay.
Yeah, just water. Because I was gonna say, I remember when you hurt your you popped something that one day and I got you
yeah,
you could like
no like I guess like a while ago. How long ago was it?
it was like 3 months ago.
Yeah,
2
no
months ago.
I guess like when I was arm wrestling Arie, I popped something.
No, but it wasn't
mean,
just me. It was like 3 people at the same time. Remember,
yeah.
It was me, someone else, and then that other guy with the tattoo.
Yeah.
It was the dude with the
Like
hair.
even though I still beat him, something.
I think that's when we added the extra arm and it wasn't enough. So then we put another person. Then you're like, okay, and then something.
Yeah, but then
Because-
after when you gave what do you call it?
I gave you that supplement.
Yeah, the
stuff.
supplement
and then
like the flex and the muscle. It instantly.
Well, what do you mean? What did you give him?
I went to I gave him Animal Flex, but I don't like about Animal
What the
Flex.
fuck is Animal Flex? So
It's
that's like
this-
a joint supplement by Animal, the company Animal.
That's
Pack
why
or
when I
whatever?
saw that shirt, I was
oh,
like,
yeah.
and apparently somebody told me, I don't know if they were joking or not. Apparently they said it's Levon approved.
Mhm.
I don't know if they were kidding or not. But the thing I didn't like about it was because, I'm into supplements and all that. I was like, I didn't like that it had so many tablets. Because there was an arm wrestler, I said, Derek Smith. And he was saying he does not take supplements.
Mhm.
Because he said he was buying his stuff from one time at the store, and then some dude who said he works in the stores or whatever was like, you know what I always find when there's always like something in the stores? The one thing I find, and he said pills, and specifically or whatever, I can't pronounce that word. He found tablets, like the hard pills.
Mhm.
And then I looked up and I was like, whoa, so you're not even like getting anything out of that. It's like basically a really expensive calcium pill. Yeah. It's like, because I found out that most people, when they take those kinds of supplements, and you know how they say, oh, if you take it, your piss is like neon yellow or whatever. It looks like Times Square or something.
Yeah.
It's because, well, that's because like the B2 or whatever, but it's also because you're getting crazy amounts of it. It's synthetic. It's not even the natural artificial. It's missing the cofactors. It's missing the enzymes. And it's also a tablet. And I found out tablets are like 4% absorption. So you're missing out on the other
Yeah, the
like
absorption sucks.
96%. And there's people who try to like counteract that. So they take like fat soluble vitamins. They'll eat it with like a fatty meal.
Mhm.
Or like they take more of like the mega dose water solubles like C or B. And, that works for some people. But, that's that.
Yeah, I don't know if there's anything you could do about that. So, like, I agree. Like, because out of all the vitamins that I've taken over my whole life,
Yeah.
and I probably really only started taking vitamins in my 20s, right?
Yeah.
So I've probably been taking vitamins on and off for like the last 20 years. So
Yeah.
what I realized by trying just the cheap ones and not believing in vitamins and then going to like Animal and being like, oh, what is this bullshit? Is this real? Right.
Yeah.
And trying those out and then going off of them and trying the cheap ones again, like going to like Rite Aid brand, like $10 a bottle,
it's
blue,
it's not
one pill bullshit and see, right? So what I ended up doing is I ended up going back to Animal Pack. And now I just do Animal Pack.
Yeah.
Because what I noticed is maybe I don't have to do it every day because that's overkill and I'm not a bodybuilder.
Yeah.
So I'm not doing crazy shit like that. And I think if you're on roids and you work out every goddamn day and you eat 6,000 calories a day, maybe the Animal Pack works better for you, right?
Yeah, no, I was gonna say like with the eating, like it's better when you take supplements. It's usually good when you eat with them. But I was gonna say like when you say with the like how Animal Pack's made for bodybuilders, like it's not just the multivitamin. It's like made for that kind of demographic or audience of people. And because I looked at the labels and all these things, and I'm just surprised with all this stuff. And they updated. I don't know what month it is now, but I think 10 months ago now, they updated it and they haven't done it for dozens and dozens of years. They never updated, but they finally just this year updated Animal Pack, the multi. Because if you ever like look on the can, it's like it says now new updated.
Yeah, I noticed that.
Yeah. So they did that. But the thing with that is it's like, like you get all your stuff out of it, but it's like tablets. That's still my thing with it. And like I said, with most people, I guess the way I look at supplements is I always want to see what are the, what are the best, I guess? Because I'm like, I know what the worst is. Like you were saying about like, you're like Rite Aid, CVS, whatever. But I'm like, what's the best? Like what? Because people want to know, what are the best arm wrestlers taking? And there's actually fun. You can look it up. There's a Michael Todd video of him. He's taking like 23 or 27 different pills. And he's taking a lot of supplements. But then the thing is, you also have to realize a lot of people, they take a lot of stuff also to counteract the effects of like if they're doing like SARMs or PEDs or Roids or whatever. Because a lot of people, they want to have like their cake and eat it too. Because a lot of people could possibly, die or get like effects from like Dennis Saplankov, his kidneys, stuff like that. And I'm like, if you took certain things, I'm not saying it's not going to get rid of it completely, but there's things you could take to kind of like subside or negate some of the effects you're going to get.
Well, let me tell you what I learned about vitamins in general.
Yeah.
And especially because last month I was on here with Jim, and while I was doing it with Jim, I didn't want to cancel it, but I kind of felt kind of weird. Like I felt weak and I had a really bad headache and I got sick, right?
Yeah.
Then I went to the hospital and it turned out it was like a really big deal or whatever, but I'll be fine. And what I learned is vitamins are not as necessary as you think.
Yeah.
So the reason is, I think a lot of people will go to vitamins without trying to eat correctly first.
Yeah.
Through things like bioabsorbable, I don't know what the right phrase is. I think it's bioavailable vitamins.
Yep,
so let's say you want high vitamin content that you need through vegetables.
Yeah.
Here's what I learned. Those fucking vitamins, you don't know what the absorption rate is. And you can take certain vitamins that you need for certain to interact with other vitamins, to have hormonal, optimization, all that shit, like with vitamin D and stuff like that. Yeah. But the truth is, check this out. Like I never even thought of this. I thought, like everyone knows because of COVID, you need vitamin D3. And the crazy thing is you need more than you think you do, because the actual RDA value of vitamin D is wrong by a factor of 10.
Yeah.
So every time they tell you need 670 IU, they mean to tell you need 6,700 IU, but they won't tell you that we fucked that up 10 years ago in a study or whatever.
And you need way more.
You actually need a factor of 10 more.
Yeah, I was going to say also, and the thing is, people are like afraid of those because they're like, oh, well, I can mega do B and C because it's water soluble. I'll just piss out the excess. But with fat soluble, you can't do that. But they don't tell you what's dangerous is when you take D3, people don't know this, but you got to take it with K2.
Well, so that's what I'm leading to. So the funny thing is, when you take it with K2, you actually don't have to buy K2 to fucking absorb that. All you got to do is eat some greens.
Yeah.
And that's enough. And you know why? I never really thought of it that way. Where like, oh yeah, if I just have some fucking salad in my sandwich a couple times or eat a big salad once or twice a day, there's so much fucking K2 in there that is more than enough to get your D3, because I have to take blood thinners to get rid of a fucking blood clot in my brain, right? And the thing is, the first time they gave me a blood thinner, they gave me a certain blood thinner that works with K2 where I'm not allowed to eat fucking vegetables.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'm going to fucking overdo the K2 and it's going to fuck up my blood thinner. So the truth is, you don't really need all the vitamins if you eat right, and people don't want to eat correctly.
No, that's true. No, you're absolutely right. Like I said, that's the thing with supplements. It's a supplement, and the diet is important. And the thing is, a lot of people, they think if they just take the supplement or if they just take the, whatever, it's going to do what it says advertised. And it probably will do that, but you got to make sure everything else in your life is also up to par, just like with the, if you're taking like a high caliber sup, you got to be a high caliber, keep yourself to that standard. But the only thing with that is, the only thing with food and diet is that might not be the case with everyone. Like some people, they may be taking supplements for religious reasons, like let's say, or like cultural reasons, like they're vegan.
What do you
or
mean
they're
religious? Like science is your religion?
No, like kosher, halal people and all that
so
stuff.
what supplements would you do under science?
Like
religious reasons.
What's it called? Pescatarian, the ones who only eat fish and they don't eat meat, they don't eat this.
Pescatarians, yeah.
They're missing out on a lot of cool things for meat, like certain aminos or carnitine, and fish has that, but it's not the same, and that's the whole thing with red meat, and that's why there's a difference. But with supplements, that's the kind of thing where it came from, like, have your cake and eat it too. Like, these guys, they don't have, because also, like, with fish oil, people are, like, afraid of fish because they're like, oh, well, I don't like fish. I don't like the way it tastes, but this stuff's really important for me. So I'll just take it as a pill. Then they go even further. People are like, I don't like fish oil. I don't like the way it tastes. Then they made algae oil. So it keeps going and going. Or there's the people who just don't like, well, if I eat this tuna, it's got mercury and this and that. So I'll just take this and it's like supposedly micro-filtered and all these like big buzzwords they use to sell the stuff. And there's a lot of things, there's a lot of things. Yeah.
Well, and it's contradictory and it's hard to say. Like when I went to the hospital, I wanted to go over everything and tell the doctors everything just in case it's all relevant. And one of the things I told them is, I eat tuna regularly. And at my age, eating tuna regularly for decades, I was like, you might want to check if I have mercury poisoning or something like that. And that every doctor looked at me like I was a fucking idiot for saying that. So that means the doctors in the hospitals do not believe that you will get any kind of mercury poisoning from tuna fish.
I'm just saying, I'm not even trying. Like, there were these two news reports. I remember there was this dude, these two different examples. One guy, for a long time, he was eating like the canned stuff, and he was having like, something happen, like he was like fainting or passing out. He was getting sick. And then they found out, they checked him and they're like, dude, look at your blood or your hair levels. Like, what? You have so much of this stuff in you. I'm like, what have you been eating? I'm like, oh, I just eat this like every day. And it's like a thing with bodybuilders. You know how bodybuilders love tuna?
They love tuna.
That's the thing they don't talk about. And there was another guy, he was actually a celebrity. And I found out he had the same name as me. I think his name was like Arie Gold or Arie Gold. And that's not his name. That's the guy who's playing. But the actor of that guy, I found out, got sick. He got sick from eating sushi all the time because that's his favorite thing. He ate sushi all the time, like every day. And he got the same thing happen to him.
Well, that's what people say, that when you have sushi, you can't have the tuna because of the mercury.
No, even a famous bodybuilder who was on that. There's this guy who's really into like longevity and all the biohacking stuff. And that's even more than supplements. It's like the Leo longevity. Even Artem Toprol has been a guest a few times. And they have a thing. And he was talking about how his bodybuilder friend he had on was like, a sushi guy or a tuna guy. And he had all that stuff happen to him. And he was talking about like this stuff, people aren't thinking about it, but it's going to be a problem in 5 or 10 years when when people start thinking about it.
Well, yeah. So that's the truth. So the thing is, just because you go to the hospital and you speak to doctors who know what they're doing, they don't fucking believe you. It doesn't mean that what you're saying. So I'll give you an example. Back in like 2001-ish, somewhere between 2000 and 2001, I watched this program on Channel 25 because I was up at 5 in the morning. And it was like NYC 25 is the channel. And it was like cable TV. And it was like some old shit. So we're talking 20 years ago.
Yeah.
I'm watching this fucking thing because there's nothing else to watch. There's nothing on. And it was like this serious scientific fucking documentary. And they explained how scientific researchers in Belgium discovered for the very first time that plastic synthetic estrogen molecules are leaching out of petri dishes in cancerous cell samples, so that they couldn't figure out why these petri dishes that had no estrogen in them were acting. The cancer was proliferating as if estrogen was in it. Took them weeks to figure out it was from the plastic. Yeah. And when they realized this, they said, wait a minute, that's horrifying, because now what else has plastic in it that's going to give women proliferating cancer, or maybe give them cancer. And then how far does this go? So what they realize at the end of this program is that you're fucked. The planet is fucked. They can't stop it because it's a global economic thing, and it's in detergents, and there's nothing they can do. And when I went around telling people this shit for like 2 or 3 years, people looked at me like I was fucking crazy.
Yeah, I just want to.
And now everyone knows this shit.
I want to. No, it's mainstream because of the.
So you know what the next one is phthalates.
No, like parabens, phthalates.
Everything that's making the dick smaller and turning the frogs gay. Yeah.
You want to know why in the 90s? And this is related to arm wrestling. I'm not even kidding, because I noticed with arm wrestling, it's different. Like, but in the 90s, like you see people who went to high school or whatever and who are like our age then, but they looked like adults already. They looked like they're in their 30s and 40s. They had mustaches in high school. I'm like, what changed? And then I found out this, because now you see,
plastics.
Guys and girls, and they look different. And that's why. Because of that. And it even is an arm wrestling. I've noticed older arm wrestlers, they have like bigger, areas and like hands, wrists, and whatever.
It's all specific. So what it comes down to is, yes, we're all being affected and poisoned, especially the male population is fucked. Because our sperm counts are going down, our dicks are getting smaller, and we're not going to be able to get women pregnant. But women are affected too. Women are miscarriaging more, right? So slowly, the entire human population is an endangered species, right?
It's affecting, like there was a town in Canada, it's called Chemical Valley. You can look it up. I think it's Sarnia or Sardinia. I can't pronounce it, but it's where the Windsor Hum is. There's this area, and they call it, and it's funny, it's in a first world country, and they're calling it the most populated industrial place ever. And they noticed that the birth rate is like some crazy stuff, like 3 or 5 or 4 to 1 of like girls to guys, where guys aren't being born as much, but girls are being born all the time. And they're thinking something to do with that, with all the endocrine disruptors and chemical mimickers and stuff.
Well, the thing about it is yes, we're all being poisoned, but on a very individual level, it only really matters when the mother and the baby in utero are or aren't affected mostly within the first trimester.
No, that's epigenetics.
Yeah, so if it's within the first trimester or isn't in the first trimester, and then whether it is or isn't further during the development of the fetus until the baby's born, that's when it matters the most.
Yeah, it's the most. Like,
and every situation is different, and then it's genetics and epigenetics after that.
Yeah.
So you can't really just say, oh, all men.
No, it affects everybody differently. Like that's another thing they say. The joke, or I don't know if it's even a joke, but they say about Europeans and the difference between like they used to say it's a culture thing. Like I would always hear, the reason it's because we're living in a wissified generation and it's a cultural thing, or I'm like, it's not, because you can see people on different sides of the spectrum, and like in other countries, like you can also look maybe in America or other countries, we have that problem, but other countries might not. But the more Americanized or Westernized they get, they're going to start having those problems. Like in Japan, how they didn't have meat, but then we gave them meat, and then they started growing like taller or whatever. Or it's like stuff like that. Like they have a Western American diet, stuff like that.
Well, the thing that you got to understand about the endocrine disruptors is the United States does not have laws in place banning it, but Europe does. So in Europe, they're a little bit more proactive against this, and they're really serious about it.
Yeah.
In America, it's more of an economy. So in order for us to not have endocrine disruptors, that means we can't have the fucking hamburgers. We can't have the goddamn Wendy's. We can't have the fucking Mazola oil. We can't have fucking Popeye's chicken dipped in fucking shit that'll fucking give you a heart attack. And, if you can't have it, well, then we don't have a country, But in Europe, they're like, well, fuck your stupid shit. We don't want to die. So it's a little bit more serious.
It's also like they say, you fry everything, and it's not even healthy fried. It's like, vegetable oils instead of olive or coconut oils, or like, how like portions are different. Like Texas, everything's big in Texas.
Well, we eat more, yeah.
And look at the sizes. Like I've seen McDonald's in America and McDonald's over there. it's way smaller over there.
It is, right? Like when I was in Japan
Oh,
and
shit.
I wanted to have fucking McDonald's, right? I actually didn't want to have McDonald's, but I was starving and I didn't know what the fuck to eat for lunch. So it was me. I was on tour with a band and stuff. And the guys were like, well, we want to go to McDonald's. Like, all right, I'll go with you. And I was like, maybe I'll fucking have a fucking hamburger at McDonald's just to see if it's any different over here.
Yeah.
Okay, so number one, it was smaller.
Okay.
The fucking meat was really fucking skinny.
Yeah.
And it was fucking disgusting. All right. It was so sodium filled and salty. I couldn't fucking believe it. And after I ate it, I felt like shit. All right. So then I was like, what am I going to eat? Because that wasn't food. And I was like, I need to now find something. So it changes, but I don't know if it's any better here, but it was definitely worse over there. But I made sure because I never eat McDonald's. Last time I ate McDonald's was like in the 80s when it was really good. It was real food. Jeez. I asked my friends, yo, so is this McDonald's the same? And because they normally eat McDonald's, and they were like, yeah, I mean, it tastes the same. So to them, they didn't give a fuck. They were like, yeah, it tastes the same. To me, I was like, this is disgusting, because I lived off of Big Macs when I was a kid. I fucking grew up eating Whoppers and Big Macs.
There's that one guy who eats only that, and the Big Mac guy.
Who's the Big Mac guy?
This dude from Wisconsin. He's literally, I'm not kidding, you can look it up. He's, in his whole life, he eats 3 every day.
And that's just what he wants.
And he doesn't, but the thing about him, which people are like, oh, well, look at that guy, because he's not fat at all. In fact, he runs and he jogs and apparently his cholesterol is respectable, apparently, but he eats like 3 Big Macs a day, every day.
So he just burns it off from activity?
Well, that's what they think. They think, oh, this guy's either a medical anomaly, or he just works out, or he looks like the Beatles, but I think he's from Wisconsin. I forgot his name. But he ate like 35,000 Big Macs or 30,000 Big Macs to this.
So he still does it?
He still does.
And how old is this guy?
He's like in his 50s, I think.
Amazing.
Yeah. I mean, oh, jeez. Yeah.
Well, and he says he likes it because my whole problem with that stuff is when I was a kid, it was delicious. I go have it now, it's disgusting.
I think also
it's not because I think it's gross. Yeah. It's because it's changed.
I just want to say, Peter, remember how like at certain places now they're saying there's like shortages of meat? I think that because I looked up the ingredients of that and I found out there's like textured protein.
Oh,
and
what
does that mean?
Like
and
what's
I found
even
out
in there?
It's another word for like they don't freak people. I found a lot of people, they say it's something else because they'll like, oh, this is seaweed extract or this sugar extract. I'm like, what's carnitine? What's sorbitol? What's polysorbate? This. I'm like, what is? I'm like, but they call it something else.
Yeah, there's various names for something that you don't want to know about.
And then they hide on the bottom of it. Like, were you saying about Europe has those rules? I found out, though, there's some items or even supplements that have this thing called Prop 65 or Rule 65 from California. And they hide it in like, sometimes it's not that obvious seen. So, because if you see that and it's in big, bold letters, you're not going to probably buy it. But they have to put it on there, I guess, legally. But so they hide it, they put it under, or they'll like put it in small print, but it's still there. So they didn't, technically to them, they didn't break the rule.
Well, what are they hiding?
That it has like, this could be, it could have lead in it, it could have other things that could be a carcinogen.
Well, the problem with California is everything causes cancer in the state of California, right?
Oh my
so
God.
Just don't have it in California, you'll be fine, right?
Oh, gee.
Right? Because everything you buy says this product has been shown to cause cancer in California.
No,
it's like, well, why the fuck in California?
No, wait,
it's like, dude, I live in New York, so we're good, right?
What are those medical commercials where it's like, and it's like a happy commercial, everyone's being happy in the commercial, but then they're like, side effects may include, you might die, or
tell you
this
all
and
these
that.
symptoms.
Explosive diarrhea.
Yeah. But it's supposed to be a happy
Dizziness
commercial.
upon standing.
And then I'm like, no one's going to buy this. Who buys this?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
I mean, I'm just to get back to what you said before about like Burger King, McDonald's, and all that. I mean, there was a time when I was a kid, I used to love like eating like, for instance, like the Burger King like chicken. But then I don't know, I just got sick of it. Where if I take a bite of it, I just don't want to eat it. It just,
that's not good news.
I get sick from it for some reason. Like, and that's why I haven't had Burger King or McDonald's in a long time, because it's just made me and even my brothers, sick.
Yeah.
Oh, so you guys actually physically feel the sickness?
Yeah, like other people, it's going to sound weird, but I mean, that's a great way. Like, I hate saying this, but like when food becomes like inconvenient for you and stuff, or uncomfortable, whatever,
Like, I think
it
they
motivates
changed
you
the
to also
chicken.
be healthy too.
I think that over the years they've changed the chicken.
They've changed all the ingredients.
Because I remember there was a certain taste, and now that taste growing up is like gone. And it's like they
Like when you
added
said-
new
you said in the
spices, or I don't know
80s.
what it
Well, they learned it when they started making McNuggets.
Yeah.
They learned that they can kind of manufacture this chicken paste meat into shapes.
Yeah.
Dude, it's got ammonia.
And now
in it.
they're just like,
No.
yeah. So now they're like, well, let's fucking do this with everything.
I found out the company that did Hot Pockets in like 2009 or something. I don't know when it was. There was this plant or this whatever it was called, and they found out there was these things where they were like, oh, these cows might have that mad cow disease stuff. And they had to do a whole recall and stuff. And I'm just saying, it's crazy how we do animals and how we take care of it compared to how to Europe and all these other countries have their standards. Because I'm like, this is crazy.
Yeah, we allow worse shit here.
Yeah.
But what fast foods do you guys eat, if any?
Well, like, yeah, I used to be big, like
Yeah, like
McDonald's, Burger King.
Do you still eat that?
Sometimes.
Like the only thing that I would ever get there's like a vanilla shake.
The only
That's pretty
thing
much
I mean, and the only thing I do,
I wouldn't
different-
get their chicken, nor would I get their fries. Just a shake. That's,
My thing
And does
is,
the vanilla shake ever make you feel sick?
no, it's everything else that makes me feel sick.
my thing is, I order stuff, but it's very like I tell them I know this, and I'm gonna look weird. I don't eat it with the bun or stuff. Like if I tell them, because I have a thing with like bread and stuff, like and that's just like a personal thing. Like I don't know if it's an autoimmune or one of those things, but I don't do well with, like I said, like I can't do pizza.
Yeah.
What happens to you when you have bread?
It's like I didn't even eat it. I feel like it just goes through me. It's like I don't feel like I'm eating it. Just
Well, you're probably allergic to gluten then. That's
Yeah.
usually the simple
I mean,
answer.
so basically, I'm the only one who's not allergic to gluten.
I think I am.
Like my sister, my brother, my mom, they're all allergic. So I'm the only one that can.
I mean,
eat
you might be. You
regularly.
just might not know it.
No.
Oh,
Because I can still eat like stuff with bread. I can still eat things, right? It's just like when I'm eating like certain foods, like the chicken from Burger King or McDonald's, I just feel like sick in the bathroom. It's just not good, It's
Well,
just bad.
the one question that I want to get to is, since we're arm wrestling and we're within our first year and we want to get to 3 years,
yeah,
and eventually you're going to get serious. You're
Yes.
going to get serious, not realizing how serious you're going to be. We can't even predict how serious we're going to be right now, even though we're saying, it's just for fun and all this stuff.
Yeah.
Eventually you're going to get so serious. Eventually we're all going to be on roids. So when are we doing roids? And then what roids are we doing? What are the arm wrestling roids?
I was gonna say the ones that are for collagen synthesis, like even SARMs that are for collagen synthesis.
So you're saying SARMs. Why SARMs?
no, because some people I've noticed, even in like, this is random, but even amateur novice people I've seen on the internet and like old arm wrestling boards or forums, they talk about what to take, and these weren't for pros. There are people who take stuff to go into the novices and amateurs, and that's how serious or like intense these guys take it, right?
Yeah, so what SARMs are
okay.
collagen synthesis?
I hope I get it right. I think I want to say one's Deca. I want to say Equipoise, maybe.
Okay, so first of all, those are not SARMs. Those are fucking straight up roids.
No, but for SARMs,
all the way to the
okay.
gills.
I'm sorry.
We're talking sauce to the gills.
SARMs, I think I want to say, because HGH SARMs, I want to say MK677 or RAD 140.
Okay, yeah.
Or-
Those are the bullshit ones that like people like to do.
Yeah.
Just so you know, those are fucking worthless.
Yeah.
Don't ever do them.
Yeah.
Everybody who's listening to this or watching this on YouTube,
Yeah.
don't fucking do them. They're dangerous too. Like MK677.
Yeah.
There's a funny thing. I never heard of that shit before
Yeah.
until like fucking 2 years ago. I was watching like some Steven Crowder thing where he
Yeah.
was like doing some Christmas bullshit where he was like, let's fucking watch CNN and laugh about it.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, let me see what this is. And I turned it on, and right as I turned it on, they were doing a commercial break. And I was like, what is this shit? He's wearing like a Santa hat. And he's like, one thing I got to say is one thing that I take this stuff called MK677. And he goes, I'm like, what is he talking about? He's like, now, I'm not promoting this stuff. I'm just saying I love this stuff. This is the closest thing to steroids that I've ever had. And I'm like, what the fuck is this? So anyway, that's where I learned about MK6.
Yeah.
So I looked it up. And from what I understand, basically,
It's an
it's a precursor to human growth hormone. But
Well,
what
just
it
that
does
one.
is what it does is it doesn't really do anything for you in terms of that. But what it really does is what it's going to do is it will fuck with your ghrelin receptors.
Yeah, it's an androgen.
And it'll make you fucking want to eat a lot.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, why the fuck is this guy doing that shit? First of all, Crowder, his body looks like shit.
Yeah.
If he fucking brags that he fucking works out, he should just shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
When he had Mark Ripito on his fucking show one time, who is the fucking goat of fucking strength training, Mark Ripito damn near fucking laughed at him and told him he was a fucking pussy because he fucking, I think he asked him what he squatted and he was like, it's like, really? Like, he's like, you could squat 405. And then Steven Crowder had to back out of it with his high-pitched fucking spazz fucking voice. Oh, okay. It's like, I can't stand that dude. And the thing about MK677 is, stay away from it. It's not worth it. Right?
Ostarine is also another dangerous SARM.
Ostarine, same thing. All these SARM people that jump on this SARM bullshit, stay away from it.
I was going to say,
it's
I'm not trying to advocate for SARM. I'm not, but steroids, I think SARMs are more experimental, and that's why they're dangerous because people...
they're just like these things that they put out to sell, and we don't know what's going to happen.
People had steroids since the 40s, 50s, or whatever. SARMs is not even 20 years old. And it's a different kind of way. Instead of taking a hormone, it's a receptor modulator. So it changes you. It's hard to explain, but it's selective androgen receptor modulator is what SARM is stands. But I'm like, listen, all these people and there's a lot of arm wrestlers who admit they're on TRT, but that's as far as they'll go. Because the thing is, there's all these risky stuff people take, and there's a lot of other dangerous stuff like fat burners are, I think, kind of, risky, dangerous.
Well, what's a fat burner?
Fat burner, it's stuff that makes you sweat, water retention.
So
you lose
what?
that. Green tea extract. How do you pronounce that one? Yombine?
Yohimbe?
Yeah, the stuff that used to get banned. There was that red line stuff, Jack 3D, all this crazy stuff. And a lot of these fat burners in the old days.
Well, look, Yohimbe is not a fat burner, okay? Green tea extract is not really a fat burner, but they do use them in fat burners as a proprietary blend. So I do know what you're saying.
And proprietary blend, the thing with that is they say proprietary blend so they don't have to put in an active ingredient. They can just put a little, but they don't tell you how much. So you don't even know what you're getting.
There used to be fat burners that worked and they were dangerous is because they had ephedrine in them. And ephedrine was still legal in the early 2000s, and then it became illegal. It was banned because people were getting heart attacks, or they were stroking out or something.
There was even B vitamins in the past. I remember there was a whole GNC thing or something else where they even had vitamins, just your common average table vitamins or whatever. And they were laced with stuff they found B vitamins laced with clenbuterol and all this. I'm like, how does that get into that?
That's dangerous. Clenbuterol, seriously?
You can look it up. It was crazy. It was I don't know, it was 2003 or 2004.
So let's narrow it down to really what have you guys heard that arm wrestlers take when it's time to start doing roids?
I've heard, I want to say, like I said, Deca again, and a few others. There was
Deca. Let's start with Deca, right?
Okay.
Because it sounds like it's going to be a short list,
and
it sounds like it's going to be a short list of serious shit and not fucking SARM's bullshit, right? And the thing about stuff like Deca is, if I'm not mistaken, because I kind of always mistake Deca with Dianabol because they start with a D, but I think Deca is the kind of shit where it goes back to your Frank Zane type Glory Day bodybuilders, your Arnold Schwarzenegger type thing. They'd be doing some Deca, and then they would be doing a little bit of testosterone with some Deca, and then maybe on top of that they would do another little thing maybe I don't think they would even do something injectable. I think they would probably do Stanozol or a Winstrol, maybe, right?
Say that because
three little things, and you end up looking like Arnold Schwarzenegger in the 70s.
This stuff
right?
was meant for animals. There were stories about bodybuilders who would take stuff from the cattle, or the what are they called? Oh man, but they would take heifer or reefer. What are the names for? Baby cow, whatever.
Heifers?
You're
talking about heifers?
They take that. Hell, growth hormone,
Well,
used to-
trenbolone. Trenbolone is used currently.
Beneplex. Yeah, it's called-
Trenbolone is used to
Make 'em big.
give you meat. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's trenbolone, most likely traces of tren in your goddamn beef, right?
Yeah.
That's normal, right? So when you say yes, these bodybuilders are taking things that are meant for animals, trenbolone is absolutely meant for animals.
And you eat that, and that's related to the whole like plastics thing. Because if you think about it, it's not just estrogen in the environment; it's also that too. And there was a story. There's been you can look it up. There were reports of fish or frogs that got masculinized by animals. Like they had like a place where animals would use a bathroom or whatever, and there was like a stream or a river or a lake or whatever, and the animals that lived in that, they got masculinized.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't hear about that either. That's the other polar extreme. Instead of extreme
well,
feminism.
it sounds like it's rare because I think
It is rare.
estrogen poisoning is the main problem.
Because it always reverts, like arotomos or whatever the word is. Like testosterone.
Aromatization.
Yeah, like that's why people on roids, they take AIs or
That's
PCTs.
why you get your bitch tits. Yeah.
And that's why they want to have their cake and eat it too. So they take HCG to restart their balls. Because if you take it, and with other supplements, it can do the same thing. Like if you take melatonin or you take digestive enzymes and all this stuff.
Well, there's digestive enzymes in my animal pack.
Yeah. Oh. Well, it's like, because they say it can affect it all, like, because your body already makes it, like your pancreas makes that stuff, right? So your body is not going to have to work as hard. So it could be good for your organ, like it doesn't have to work as hard and all this stuff. And that's why people like old school bodybuilders would always take precursors. Like notice how old school bodybuilders, they always take liver tablets. The danger.
What does that mean? What's liver tablets?
Liver tabs, basically they'd get like a cow and they'd just take the liver of that cow.
Eating the liver.
Yeah, they take but they crazy like 9 pills and
Yeah.
crazy. But the thing is that was bad about that. Like a lot of old school bodybuilders, they get heavy like iron problems, like too much iron.
Yeah.
And the thing is with your body, metals like iron or copper, and a lot of that's in liver and stuff, you're not gonna get rid of that as easy. And you can overdo that. And that's the thing that they don't think about or they didn't know.
Mm-hmm.
And there's also a thing where people used to supplement. I don't know if they do this now, but they used to supplement with cow brains because, it's got benefits for your brain. But now everyone freaked out ever since like 1985 because of mad cow disease. So they stopped doing that and they went to like plant alternatives to do that. Or even with the growth hormone. Now, like in the 80s, they used to have like the cadaver growth hormone from the cows or whatever, and they stopped doing that because everyone was afraid of mad cow disease because they would start like there was cases of people like 30 or 20 years later they develop something called prions or kuru from this stuff because they didn't know at the time. Like there's a worry with stuff like deer antler velvet because it could be laced with prions or kuru, and there's actually an old school bodybuilder who talks about in his video, I think his name's Jerry Branham, and he talks about it. Like he's like this bodybuilder supplements guy.
Yeah, that guy, he loves the sound of his own voice. I wanted to check him out when I heard about him, and he thinks he knows everything, and he's always like the
problem is
studies and stuff like that.
People, they get their egos and they're too narcissistic.
I mean, he's just like an old guy who looks like shit yelling in front of his computer.
No, you're absolutely right, because the thing is a lot of the supplements knowledge people like that have is they think because they were on the top and they were in the prime and like, back in my day, I was the shit. I was better than you when you was in your fucking...
You think you're better than me?
Yeah. You don't know.
Let's go time.
Yeah, no, but the problem is that's not going to let real like stuff for like other stuff to get made or whatever because they'll think, we were the best. We were the peak. We knew it all. Mm-hmm. And people like that, they're going to hinder the subs game.
So here's what it sounds like to me. So there's a bunch of young kids right now who are arm wrestling.
Oh, jeez.
And the first thing they're going to think is we need to get the quickest, easiest SARMs shit. And they're going to fucking hurt themselves because they're doing dumb shit.
I want to
right?
say, and the sad thing is
it's pointless.
I've known people like, and I've seen on the internet, like people who admit taking all these crazy things and they're okay with it. And they're not thinking about and because I try to tell them, I'm like, you shouldn't do this. It's going to affect you like this, and that. Well, listen, I'm fine. And, I'm like, but you got to think for the future. Yeah.
I just want to say, I mean, if like people
Peter, can you get up to the mic so I can hear you better?
No, I'm just saying that, like, if people are doing all these things and they know the side effects and it's going to damage them in the long run, why even do them? Why don't you just do it naturally? I mean, I think that people would be more impressed if you tried getting strength just the natural way. That you can take supplements, but don't take things.
I was about to say
creatine.
People are
Take
more
creatine, right?
People are more. I've even seen people. I'm not even kidding. People are more afraid of side effects of supplements, or they're more afraid of their supplements not working compared to stuff like SARMs or steroids. And the thing is, what you said, there's people who take that SARMs and steroids and they don't even look that good, and you can't even tell they're on it because some people are not good responders to the stuff. And they could take it, but they don't change the rest of their lifestyle, just like supplements. It's an extension of that because you got to eat more. And also, that's another thing that I don't like either, what you said about SARMs. It makes you crazy hungry. It's like you get the munchies, but on steroids, literally.
I just also want to say that, I wouldn't take like steroids because, I mean, I don't, like, I want to get strong, but I don't
Well, what's the risk reward, right? It's like, do I need it?
Also, another thing
and is it going to kill me?
Yeah.
I don't even know.
And is what I'm getting what I think I'm getting?
Yeah.
Right?
It's like, what if you want to be in arm wrestling? That's another thing people don't realize. Everyone thinks, like, I don't know if they're projecting or not, but everyone thinks everyone wants to be the biggest and look the biggest or whatever. But I don't think he does either. And I remember
I'd rather just get like tones and just like strong.
You told us, I remember the first practice, you're like, you asked him what his weight was, and you're like, stay at that weight, that's good.
Mm-hmm.
And no one's ever said that. Everyone says, oh, that's too light, that's too skinny. You need muscle, you need more. I'm like, what about pound for pound strength? What about just like being strong for what you are?
I'll give you an example. How much do you weigh?
Like 140.
Holy shit. Are you fucking serious?
I think you're 145.
Yeah, but I grew like a few pounds. Like
That's unbelievable. Dude, you're fucking bigger and taller than me, and you're fucking 140. So I weigh like 185, right? I want to get to 165.
Okay.
If I can get to 165, I'm going to try really hard this next year, over the course of this year, hopefully sooner. I need to lose. Because what am I doing at 185 when we get a guy like Emo comes over here? He's 145, and he destroys everyone here from 140 to 290.
Yeah.
What the fuck am I doing at 185?
It's healthier to be, I think personally, it's for your health. Like, it's healthier. You're going to live longer. I think you'll feel better because everyone, and notice how even the top arm wrestling guys, and they always say, they want to get bigger, but they don't. It's not even that. Not only is it bad for the health, they don't even feel good. Mm-hmm. They don't even feel like healthy. Like they don't. I don't know. It could even affect you, like the way you think and all that.
I mean, also it's because you have all that weight on you, and it's like the more weight you have on you, the more stresses your heart. You know what I mean? I'd rather be the weight that I am and just keep it as it is and just get strong from just that over the years. I'll get stronger. But at the same time, I don't want to be a giant bulk, like a Terminator guy. You know what I mean? Like, listen, Terminator was cool. Don't get me wrong; it's a good movie. And
Arnold was athletic as fuck. At his weight.
Yeah, but at the same time, personally, for me, I would not want to be that big.
And the bodybuilders today are even bigger than the bodybuilders then.
I'd rather just be my weight, so then my heart is healthy, so then I live longer. So then,
And I know you have bodybuilders who are transparent about the stuff they take, and that's their stuff.
Well, now they are. Right?
Yeah, now they didn't used to be like 10 or 20 years ago, because now they're just saying, oh, like the Hulk Hogan, take your vitamins and pray. But listen, they're just because they're transparent about it and they're honest about it. I feel like people think just because they're honest and transparent about it, that means, oh, then it's okay for me to do it too. And like, look how easy it is for me to do this. And like, it's cheaper. Some people have said, oh, the supplements are more expensive and it's cheaper. I know a guy at the gym. I know my local guy is just going to get me one and hook me up. And,
Well, let me give you a funny example. I always think about this. Like, I don't even watch this show because I don't even think it's funny.
Right.
But some people do. Yeah. And maybe it's their fucking brand, but there's a brand of humor. But there's a show it's popular or has been popular called It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, right? You guys ever heard of this fucking show? It's like a comedy that's in a bar or whatever. Danny DeVito's in it.
That's going to be the dude that's going to be in that movie. That, you know, the guy who's going to be Luigi? It's from that. The dude who's going to be Luigi. It's in that show.
Okay.
I don't know his name.
Wait.
You know,
you mean the guy from that monster movie?
No. Yeah. That guy is going to be... He was in that show you just said.
Oh, yeah? I don't even watch the show, but I know it's based around like three dudes. Who are you talking about? Do you know?
He's in that show in the sunny of Philadelphia. I don't know the name, but it's the guy who's going to be playing Luigi in that Mario movie.
Oh, my God, yeah.
So anyway, in the show, one of the three dudes, I think there's three of them, this one dude is like this guy who got really fat for a couple seasons or something. And then after he got really fat, like to be funny or in the script, like he literally got really fat for real. Oh. And then all of a sudden he wanted to get buff, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, there's interviews with this guy asking him about his buffness and whether or not he what he had to do to get so fucking ripped or whatever. Like, and it's a little weird because like there's like footage of like him and Danny DeVito like at a gay pride parade, so they're like supporting the gayness. So this guy is from the show. He got really ripped and he was at this pride parade thing with Danny DeVito, and he just looked like extremely gay because he was like so fucking. He looked like what every gay guy would want to like butt fuck and everything, and I guess that was his way of saying I support the gays or whatever. You know, he had like no shirt on and like a leather vest or something, right? But anyway, my point is that people were trying to figure out if this guy was on roids to do this, right? And then you know how celebrities and actors especially, they never want to say, right? Or they never say outright, and they fucking act like they're not. And they're just doing so. Anyway, there's this clip where he admitted it basically that he was taking supplementation of testosterone. Now, mind you, when this guy did it, he was 37 years old. And here's the funny part. So he's 37. And for some reason, he decided he was going to take testosterone supplementation. And the way he explained it was, once I got the stuff, I realized I'd be waking up in the morning and I'd be waking up with morning wood. And I was like, whoa, I remember this. And I'm thinking, wow, so at 37, you already forgot what it means to wake up with a hard cock.
That just means he wasn't
like
healthy.
What the fuck happened to you, bro? You have that problem.
No, that's just insinuating
that just strange. It doesn't make any sense.
So what? He missed. He couldn't see what that wasn't since he was like 18 or 19.
It's like I don't know what that means, But like that guy is on TRT clearly to have the body of his dreams, and now he has to pin TRT, and he's got balls the size of raisins forever. And he's got to do that from 37 until whatever his death is going to be, like for the next 50 years. Yeah. So this fucking guy, he's like take a TRT at age 37. So now for like the next 50 years, he's got to fucking pin his ass.
Yeah.
Just for his dick to work and to have fucking abs. You know what I mean?
No,
and it's so the thing that I'm worried about with arm wrestling is that eventually everyone's going to feel like they have to do this. And
they shouldn't.
I hope it doesn't go that way.
No, that's what I'm afraid. I was going to say, this is a thing I wanted to mention before, but I forgot, but I just remembered. Another thing I'm worried about is at the top level, even female arm wrestlers are like taking stuff. I found out
yeah, well,
I was like,
who?
I think Sarah Bachman.
And what makes you think that?
There's certain videos of her bone structure or like her you know what I mean? And like, because I've seen top girl arm wrestlers. Like I don't think that Gabby, I don't know her full name. I don't think she's on roids. I think, she's just,
Gabby's the girl that beat Sarah Bachman, right?
Yeah. And that's funny that I think about when I say it, that I don't think she was on roids, but I do think Sarah was on roids. And, but she lost to, maybe it's the weight difference or
well,
something.
that's the thing that roids don't make you win, right?
Yeah.
But the thing that roids do is they do two things. At the top level of what you're able to do, the roids will push you maybe a few percent more to get you to that elite level. And then the other thing they do is they make everyone look at you and go, you're on roids because I can see it.
Yeah.
That's the two things that they do.
No.
Like Sarah Bachman has traps.
Yeah.
I don't have traps. I'm a man.
Yeah.
Sarah Bachman's a woman.
Yeah.
She's got traps bigger than a man. That means you're on Anavar.
Yeah.
That means you're taking 10 milligrams of Anavar every couple of days, and now you have traps.
I just want to say, though, before I forget, also, there's another thing I want to talk about, because I'm afraid of also the way top arm wrestlers, because, like, you know how you said they sometimes admit they're doing it, but they don't want to do it too much because they don't want to be like the Europeans. And then I think that it gives impressions to, like, impressionable new arm wrestlers, like, oh, my favorite arm wrestler did all this stuff, and I found out what he does, and I'm going to do it, because I've heard arm wrestlers say that. And, like, I've heard, like, you know how, like, a long time ago, I don't know, like, Devon had that whole DVT scare and they, like, blame it on everyone's, like, saying, oh, well, you know, it's just random. It just happens.
Well, what he said is that he didn't move around enough and he was flying in a plane a lot. Which,
yeah,
you know,
I'm like, that could be it, too, but there's also, you know, like, other stuff it could be, like, and then you hear Michael saying, like, I want to take everything he took, or something like, I want to do everything. Like,
Michael said, Michael implied that Devon was on a stack of some kind of roids and he wants to take that.
I don't think he said roids, but he did imply, he was implying stuff. I think he was implying stuff.
So what, because if it wasn't roids, what was he implying? Like, I want to eat the salads that he ate?
No,
right.
I think it's the stuff. Yeah, but that's what I mean. But because he's saying that, oh, this is my, like, last hurrah. I'm going to go full throttle. I don't care if it ends up like a Saplankov or a Levant thing. Because he, you know, if it's your last hurrah and you're getting older.
You know, that's cool. It's just that Rebecca has to let him.
Oh, yeah, she's a nerd.
Or not let him, right? Because we know who wears the pants in that family, right?
Oh.
And no disrespect to Michael and Rebecca. I think they both know what's going on.
No, it's the same thing, though, with the other family, too. You can't just say that, because it's the same thing. Like, I think it's crazy how I know Devon, he does all these, like, things, and he did all this stuff. But even so, and his wife, I feel like, still, like, I guess tries to do that kind of like what you were saying.
Well,
about
his
Rebecca.
wife's an arm wrestler.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So, like, she knows what it means. If you're talking about Devon's wife,
yeah,
she doesn't arm wrestle actively right now, I don't think, but she did. And she's really good at it. And she's a big, strong arm wrestler, you know. And so if she wants to, she can continue and compete and all that shit. You know, she's no slouch.
Yeah.
So, I mean, she knows what's up. Rebecca doesn't arm wrestle. I mean, she kind of arm wrestles
it's probably for videos.
Through Michael, right? But Rebecca doesn't go to tournaments.
Like living vicariously through someone else.
Like, she's into it and she knows how the fucking arm wrestling shit works.
How passionate he is, and she's going to use her nurse knowledge to help him.
Yeah. You know, and that's all fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But what I'm saying is you got to understand that Jody Larrett, she's an arm wrestler, you know. She knows what it means to compete.
Oh, and there's people. Another thing I remember, there's Travis talking about, because it's related. They're saying how arm wrestlers, not only are they taking the wrong roids for arm wrestling, they're taking it the wrong way. Like, they say their strength peaks at certain times. Like, they say if you want to start maybe 2 or 3 months before. It's like different with everything, but they're saying they're not even taking it the right way. Like, you want to take it at a certain time so you're going to peak for that tournament. And they're saying that's not a healthy lifestyle to do all the time, like making your body, forcing it to peak and not peak and all this. And your body, it's like, it sucks to try to catch up or play catch up to get used to that.
Well, let me ask you something. Like, isn't it better to just not do any roids?
Yeah, it's
and
safer.
Just be as strong as you can so that you don't have to peak.
Like,
you just do your training.
This is gonna sound crazy, but
actually, because I was gonna because basically what I was gonna say before was, like, I agree that why not people just do it the natural way? Why, as you said, take anything at all? I mean, you know, just, you know, listen, arm wrestling is like not just like, you know, yeah, it's good if you want to be like competitive.
And you know the reason why,
but it's a community of people. You have fun, this and that. Like, you can be competitive, but don't, you know, mess up your health for the sake of winning. The whole purpose is to keep on doing it. And then over time, you get better and better and better.
Yeah, but I just want to say the reason I think
You know?
people do it is because of the other people who do it. Because I know this sounds weird, but I just want to explain. Like, I think certain people do the roids in arm wrestling only because the other guys do roids. Like, I'm going to be honest. Like, I think if Levon or Saplankov did not do them, then other people wouldn't have to feel like they'd have to do them to keep up with them. So if everyone had an agreement, we're all not going to do it, then I honestly feel like they're all not going to do it. Then you have people who say, oh, I'm natty or not. Like you have the one RVJ guy, and he's always saying I'm natty. But then he told a story of, I was very close to taking it. I knew a guy was going to sell it to me right there and then. And I'm like, or then I know people who are like, I never took it. I've never touched it. Then they're like, well, I tried it when I was young, but that didn't count. And I don't know.
Look, here's the thing, though. The 3 doofball assholes that are sitting here right now on this fucking podcast have no business doing any kind of roids or worrying about whether or not we can fucking be or not be whatever roids are going to give us. But when you're talking about the top guys and you're talking about Olympic level athletes, there's 2 things you got to keep in mind. They're most likely all going to be on some kind of roids because that's what Olympic athletes do. And when you're at an elite level at this sport, arm wrestling, you're going to do roids because they're all on roids. And they're almost all totally comfortable with saying that they are on roids. Now, here's what I love about Brzenk being the GOAT, right? Forget everybody else. If Brzenk's the GOAT, let's just listen to him. Now, he is such a good ambassador for the sport. He's an icon and a representative for the sport because this guy is not on roids, okay? But he is on testosterone replacement therapy, which is not really roids. It's just testosterone.
They said like Trent is 5 times more anabolic.
So basically what Brzenk says is that since he's been 40 to 42 years old, so for the last 17 years now, he has been doing replacement level testosterone therapy just for his health, okay? And he's arm wrestling still, and he's getting older, and that's it. He's not popping fucking Deca and fucking doing Winstrol and fucking doing Anadrol.
Treating yourself like you're a lab.
Equipoise and fucking who the fuck knows what else stupid shit.
You're like a chemistry experiment gone wrong.
Yeah, so like, and now imagine all the guys that want to be 20 years old and want to pop some fucking Anadrols.
Oh, like what to take to negate
or take a fucking injection once a week.
Like what
of
stuff?
Who the fuck knows what. And make their balls turn into fucking raisins and never have fucking kids because they want to be strong and they're going to be dead by 30 or something.
Geez. Like that happens.
Like that's real, man.
No, there's like if you go on the internet, there's like if you look up like there's like boards or forums or whatever of like, and there's like lists of bodybuilders, and it's mostly bodybuilders because I'll say this, and maybe I don't know if I'm saying it right or wrong, but I think bodybuilding. It's funny how people think bodybuilding is healthy, but then you also got to think like. I don't think in caveman times, people ate 8 times a day. It was like 10, 15,000 calories and all this stuff. And you can even make arguments like this is crazy, but they say like for like protein powders, like they say your body can only absorb a certain amount of protein. And they're like, and all the stuff with the insulin and all this. It's like a lot of things you could say.
Let me tell you a secret about protein powders.
Okay.
When I was a kid, people getting stuck on the sidewalk out there. When I was a kid and I was in college. So how old are you guys? 24?
25.
No, 25.
Yeah.
Okay, so when I went to college kind of early because I was a late December baby, right? So I think I started college at like 17 years old or some shit.
Yeah.
And then turned 18 the first year of college. I was 130 pounds, and I wore 29-inch waist jeans, and I didn't know anything about working out, but I met somebody in college my freshman year who learned everything about working out from his father, and he was like, we were both into bicycling, so we used to do road race bicycling, right? So like we had Italian bikes, And we used to go out and do 30 miles and just be like, whatever. And he was like, yo, we should go to the gym and we're going to go lift some weights.
Yeah.
Bodybuilding, Arnold style. And he showed me everything. So now I'm 130 pounds. I'm fucking squatting like once or twice a week. I'm doing the bench press. I'm doing all compound lifts, doing all the Arnold styled fucking shit for the first time in my life. We're getting on bicycles every second day, riding 20, 30 miles. I never counted calories. But when I look back on those days, because I couldn't gain a pound ever, and I was 130 pounds, I realized I had to eat. So I started doing like these protein powders, these heavyweight gainer things, right? Because you go to the bodybuilding fucking stores in the malls, the GNCs and all that shit. They had these jugs, and it was like you could drink 900 calories.
The weight gainers are the worst for your health.
So here's the thing, though. In order for me to gain weight, and I managed to gain 10 pounds a year for 3 years. So I went from 130 to 140, 150, 160. 170. I was like at 170 within 3 years. And when I think about what the fuck I ate and I start counting my calories, you know, I was eating 10,000 calories a day just so that within a year I could put on 10 pounds and start fucking and keep doing that shit. Constantly working out 4 or 5 days a week in the gym and riding a fucking bicycle. Of course, 10,000 calories a day. I didn't even know what fucking calories were because I didn't give a shit. I just knew I could eat. Like I was like, dinner time, I'll order a pizza. I'll eat the whole pizza. You know, it's like I used to go to this fucking supermarket across the street and they would bake fresh Vienna bread at 2 a.m. And the Vienna bread was like 99 cents for a loaf like this. I would take the whole fucking loaf, cut it right in half, and I would spread almond butter on both fucking sides of it. So it was like this fucking big. Like a big. And I would put like fucking jelly on it, and I would eat the whole fucking
like
thing with almond butter
and jelly.
And then another fucking, the other half of it, dude, that fucking thing alone was probably like fucking 3,000 calories. And that was just like, oh, that was good. And let me have some fucking milk. Fucking drinking milk. So like I was just down in calories because I had to.
And that's another thing I was going to say random. And it's real, I don't even want to get off topic, but it is, I think, kind of topic. But the milk thing, they even say with the estrogen, the funny thing with the diet, they say most of your estrogen comes from dairy. They say 70-80% actually of your estrogen comes from dairy that's in your diet. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And I just thought that's crazy.
And I'm the living proof of it because when I started inhaling fucking more dairy with more fat and eating fucking just meat and cheese and dairy, I felt my body's fucking estrogen level exploded. So the thing is, strength lifters, not bodybuilders, strength lifters, they take roids that give them a lot more estrogen, which gives them a lot more strength. That's why they look so puffy.
There's one more guy I want to talk about. There's, you know, that famous Russian guy, the famous Russian arm wrestler, I think, Alexei Vovoda.
Vovoda, yeah.
He currently, and he had a super match with Tim Brzenk and he lost. And people, you know why people said he lost? Because he went vegan. That's why people think he lost.
He is vegan?
He's vegan. You can look it up.
Why is he vegan?
There's a whole article or blog he did on it saying, you get all your, everything you get from your body, your gut flora, biome makes it. And the reason why, and this was also related to the whole thing with the environment and people are screwed up. Is, you know, like most people have screwed up guts. Like gut health is very bad. But my thing with probiotics is I don't believe in taking stuff that's living because the stuff, and you can look it up, there's like sides to it, like not one size fits all. Like probiotics can mutate. That's all I'll say with, you know, that. But he's a vegan.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, but he said it's for health reason because he's saying that he felt better and he said his lifts got better when he became vegan. Because my thing though is I think the reason that is because of all the unhealthy stuff with the animals and everything is why he went vegan.
Plus, you got to remember he was one of those top guys who's probably taking tons of roids. So being vegan for a guy like that is probably a big detoxifying thing.
Yeah, no, that's what they say. It felt like, and there was a big New York arm wrestler. I really don't know what his name was. I want to say it was Rob, but there was another. He was on the Game of Arms show, and it was, I don't know his name, but he was also a vegan arm wrestler.
I never heard of this.
Yeah, you can look it up. Look up famous or like vegan arm wrestlers. They exist.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just crazy to think, but like why? And they get all their like protein from like other stuff. But there's side effects to vegan diets because people don't think there's like the saponins, the lectins, all
You
this
can't
stuff.
do it long term.
You can't, because it's phytic acid.
I don't know if you could do anything long term unless you're right down the middle, just balanced.
Even keto, even the carnivore stuff, because your body starts to make people think, oh, well, the Eskimos did it, and that's why it was great, because look at them and this. Listen, like the epigenetics, they epigenetically got to that point. The only reason they ate keto is because that's all there was. You know
They
what?
had
Like,
to, right.
because of the seasons, like, you know how stuff grew like in the winter? This was the food that was available. In the spring or the summer, this is the food that was available. They didn't have a choice. Everyone today, this is why everyone's playing the epigenetic like freaking lottery, because everyone's eating whatever they want from all different wherever's like stuff you're normally not supposed to have access to or be able to make, and you're getting.
I feel like we're getting to a point of information where just looking at the ingredients and just looking at the nutritional facts labeling is not enough.
It's not.
Like we need to really know what the fuck is really in there, because we don't.
Yeah.
And we're realizing there's so much shit in there.
We don't know.
And we're just shoving that down our mouths, hoping for the best.
I know, but there's a thing that was freaked. I was like, whoa, I can't believe you said that. Because Devon said a long time ago, he was like, when I eat this sugar or when I eat this, I like to imagine it's powering me or it's supercharging me to do great things. Or like the whole like pancakes and maple syrup. And I know he probably saved that whole industry from going away. And now everyone and their uncle's like, I got to eat pancakes and maple syrup because some really tall guy told me to from Canada.
I just wanted to say this very quick.
Mm-hmm.
How people, for some reason, if it's arm wrestling or it's with anything, they get peer pressured into doing these, big, it could be even like a mistake for your health. Like, you only have one life. And if you only do something just based off because somebody else did this and, oh my God, this guy's awesome, so maybe I should just replicate what he did. But it can also lead to side effects that could damage your health.
Well, yeah, everyone's different.
Yeah.
So, like, even if you just took the Arnold Schwarzenegger approach, and you're like, I'll just do what Arnold did. Look at how fucking awesome he was, right? Well, you don't know how Arnold had to pay for that. He had 2 heart surgeries, right? He had a valve replacement and then another valve replacement. And you don't know if that was related to steroid use.
And then you got to ask yourself, would you want to go through what he went through? Or would you want to make your own choice and do something that's good for your health? Because people should be thinking about, yes, arm wrestling is fun. Yes, it's a good thing because you meet new friends. It's a community, like a family. But also, you got to take care of your health. Your health is the priority.
And there's even another thing they don't say about roids that they don't tell you. Do you know that some roids are even like neurotoxic? No. Like they can affect your brain. And I found that out. And I was like, oh, everyone always said, oh, the things that are going to get affected the most are your heart or your kidneys. Yeah. But they don't talk about like it can affect that other stuff. And I was like,
well, look about your hormones are affected by your hypothalamus, your pituitary. That's in your brain.
Yeah.
So, I mean, how much further do you need to go in your brain to fuck around with shit, especially as a man? I mean, the thing about being a woman, I think it's easier because with testosterone, women don't need so much testosterone and they get the benefits of it. That's why something like an Anavar pill in very low doses does wonderful things for women.
And I wanted to say natural estrogen is okay because actually it's normal to have natural estrogen.
Well, you need a certain amount of estrogen for many reasons.
Even your joints, they say that when you take roids, it actually, you get dry joints. That's another thing that's dangerous with certain steroids. People take the wrong steroids in arm wrestling. It hurts their tendons.
Well, low estrogen is actually very bad.
It is.
So your dick won't work. You won't be able to have kids. You won't feel strong. Like you said, you'll feel too dry. Your joints will fucking fall apart.
Yeah.
I mean,
your hair will fall out. All kinds of things.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Just for me personally, as long as I'm able to be healthy and arm wrestle and just have fun, because win or lose, I mean, at the end of the day, and people just need to realize it's something you can be competitive about. You can love it, but don't kill yourself for the sake of wanting to be the best.
And
you can train, you can work hard. Those people that work hard beat the people who are on steroids. Like, and people, just because they're on steroids, they can still lose.
Yeah.
And it's been shown on video. Like, people have done it.
Yeah, I just want to say also quick that these people who are doing these top roids, they're not looking up this information on themselves. Like in that Michael Todd video, when he was looking at the stuff, he was asking the Rebecca, he didn't even know how to pronounce the supplement. And he's like, why do I take this again? And what do I take it for again? And he's like, and she's like telling him.
She's
like,
his pharmacist.
And I'm like, and then I realized looking at his stack, a lot of it kind of looks like stuff to counteract the negative effects of PEDs. I noticed. And another thing is, I don't think, he might have or she might have, like, I don't know who's giving his supplement advice, because a lot of these guys, like I know even Devon, like there was a guy on Devon's channel, this dude he was talking about in California, some Coner, I don't know what his name was. This guy, he was saying him and this female arm wrestler named like Beach or something went to the dude's house and he told him like, oh, you got to drink rotten coconut water. And then some other thing with like, he took in like I don't know, it was a weird video. And I found out they were talking about phage therapy, and that's something with the gut, because this guy, Devon, was like saying, okay, I'll teach you arm wrestling if you teach me how to get better at my health. And then I realized everyone always has all the pieces, but no one fucking collabs them together. Because you have like the Leo and Longetivity guy, but he's talking about like longevity and biohacking and all this stuff. But you don't have anybody, and like the Roids and stuff and all that stuff, but don't have anyone talking about the simplest stuff, like you said, animal pack, or just supplements. Because I think if people like knew what they were eating and even looked at the ingredients of what they're taking in their supplement, because it's not good when it's like proprietary blend and it's got all these fillers and all this extra stuff that you can't even pronounce. So yeah.
Well, the thing I like about watching Leo's channel is at first when I discovered his channel, I was like, what is this? I was like, I don't think I want to watch this thing. The only thing that has me watching Leo, because there's nothing that Leo does or talks about that makes me give a shit. But the thing about it is sometimes, because he used to arm wrestle.
And he has arm wrestlers on.
He has arm wrestlers on, like Artem. The other day, he had Artem on there, and they were talking about stuff.
Yeah.
And they talk about arm wrestling. And I feel like that's the only reason I really pay attention when it's arm wrestling related. When it gets too bodybuilding-ish and too much, this is how much fucking insulin I fucking pin and all this other bullshit. Yeah. And I used to do these drugs. And I don't understand how that guy Leo is still alive, because he was like a fucking science experiment for 15 years. And he's acting like this is fine.
It's not.
And it's like, I don't even understand. Now, that guy's a lot younger than me, but if you really see what his hair looks like, that guy looks a lot older than I do right now, and it's the Roids.
No, it's the same thing. That's actually what happened there's another famous channel that the Leo guy collaborated, More Plates, More Dates.
Right.
It's
Derek.
This dude, yeah.
He's on a whole bunch of shit.
And
he looks fucking 40, and he's probably like 33
His hair and his gray. And that's the thing why these guys, like at the end of it, they want to have their cake and eat it too. They want to take stuff that's like DHT, or they want to take all these stuff to like, so they don't have like a widow's peak or the giant forehead, all their stuff's falling.
They're looks maxing.
They are not, they're not caring about their health. They're caring about their aesthetics, like their looks. Like, so they're taking all this stuff not to have their like health with the roids. They want to have their looks and their roids.
Yeah.
But that's what, you know.
But when you talk about Derek and Leo, those are one of the better channels, or probably the best channels right now that do it, where they're at least responsible. And they talk about health and longevity and not dying and stuff like that. But the stuff that they talk about, it sounds kind of insane. Like, I wouldn't even imagine getting a syringe to do anything on my own. And these guys are like, you wouldn't believe the fucking shit I used to do.
All you have to do to avoid it is they'll learn from these guys, like, you know, the mistakes they made, and they can become an example for other people to follow, but not to do.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know. So that's all you have to do. You just have to, I would say, and I hate saying it, but it sounds like I'm asking a lot, and it's so simple, but sometimes the simplest stuff seems hard for people.
Well, look at how funny it is with Leo. This is what and I think this is what you're saying.
Okay.
Leo doesn't arm wrestle anymore.
No, he doesn't.
But when he did, he only did it while on roids. And then when he stopped, he wasn't on roids. So it's almost like he was never going to do arm wrestling not on roids.
Imagine
so he only wanted to do the shortcut.
You know what I'm
saying?
Me?
Yeah, he didn't want to do the long way.
if they
which is the only way we're doing it.
if Roids didn't exist, he wouldn't be doing arm wrestling.
Right. So why? So obviously he doesn't love arm wrestling enough to do it without Roids.
Yeah.
Because he knows the difference.
No, but I've heard stories like, I was saying about the Derek. There was a guy, he said it was really good, who came to his practice, but he was like a social media guy. Like he had his own camera guy come with him and record him. Even though there's already people recording the practice, he had his own personal dude come and do it for him. And he stopped coming to a few once he started losing and he wasn't doing as well anymore. And then he didn't keep on with it. And there's like people like that. They'll only do it because now like YouTube's a thing and they want to do like Logan Paul and Jake Paul and become like, how they're getting the boxing. Now we're going to see guys like, there's the Jujimufu who was into it and then he got out of it or whatever.
It's so funny. I ran into the Jujimufu stuff a few years ago. So I was like, what is this? First of all, it rubbed me the wrong way all the time because I was like, this is corny. Yeah. And then that weird guy that he was with.
I know.
I always thought that guy was like cringy.
He was.
And I was like, the only reason I kept watching Juji's channel is because Devon Larratt went on there a lot and he started teaching Juji. And then I wanted to watch that. So I learned from that. But now that like we're back to Juji's only this bodybuilding maniac and stuff. And, Juji's like 13 years younger than me. The fucking dude looks like he's fucking older than me.
Yeah, I want to say, I even think that the only reason they got into arm wrestling was because of that camera guy. But then that camera guy, even in the videos, you notice that at the arm wrestling things, he always like lost and stuff, but he always put under the description or on the top of the description, like, this is why I lost. I was really tired. I wasn't feeling good. I was on painkillers. But I tired this guy out. Like he even says like, that guy who won, he's the guy who beat me. Like they have their egos. They have to make themselves feel better. I think why me and Peter do well is because a lot of people I've seen, they're afraid to arm wrestle. Like remember when me and you were arm wrestling? Like, dude, you got to cut it out. There's people filming.
Yeah, right.
And they're afraid of arm wrestling a certain way. Oh, it's too violent or too aggressive. You're arm wrestling, and they don't like the image. I think they don't because they think, it's cool, but they don't like the image of seeing like, a guy who's a different size than another guy going at it because they don't like that image. Because I've seen like, I'm trying to remember what I was about to say.
I think that the main thing is like if you're going to a tournament, who cares if you lose? Honestly, when you lose, you get something. You're getting an experience.
I remember.
Then over time, you get better.
People are afraid to arm wrestle certain people because they're afraid of arm wrestling. Like I noticed at the tour, I thought like no one wanted to arm wrestle like the big guys. Or no one wanted to arm wrestle the champion dudes because they're all afraid of like looking bad in front of their friends or their girlfriend or whatever. I was like, I don't care. Let's do it. I'm like, you can't be afraid to arm wrestle new people. For me, I go at the opportunity just to arm wrestle with anybody.
Because if you're afraid of every single person, then you can never go ahead, like, towards like the future of.
Because if we thought like that, we would have never came here.
Yeah, so let's reel this back in because I'm really glad that we breached the Roids thing because I just wanted to talk about it and I didn't know where it was going to go because I didn't know what you guys were going to say and then based on what you guys said, I was able to put in my 2 cents of what I've learned from what people talk about. And I'm only learning from people who apparently have no problem injecting themselves 5 times a day like a fucking chemical factory.
And the oils are,
And I don't even, whatever. And it's all about YouTube and information and aesthetics and my delts and all this shit. And I'm like, I don't even want to hear it. Like, I don't even care, right? So what's really interesting is I look at it this way. Arm wrestling is supposed to be fun, right? I want it to be fun like the way you do things that are fun. If you take it so seriously that you're worried about losing or you're so worried that you're going to arm wrestle somebody who's stronger than you, then you're doing it wrong. So like the most important thing is I want to grip up everybody's new hand because every hand that I grip up with is data. Yeah. Now, I may look at a guy and go, there's no way I'm going to be able to ever beat that guy right now, but I don't really know what it feels like and what I might have to do or not do data-wise until I touch his hand. Yeah. So let's say, I'll give you a perfect example. So one of the guys that's been coming here is Mike. Last time you guys were here, Mike was here, right? Yeah. Mike is a guy who's like my age. He's been following this shit for 2 years. Strong as fuck. Construction worker. Solid fucking granite fucking hand and wrist. I know that when I look at Mike, I'm like, there's no way I can hang with Mike, right? I don't give a shit. I need to feel Mike's hand. I want to know what Mike's hand does.
Yeah.
And then what my hand can do with Mike.
Yeah.
And even though I know I'm going to lose, I want to know how I'm going to lose. Because then when you know how you're going to lose, you know how to not lose in the future.
Yeah.
And that's what arm wrestling is.
Because that's half of arm wrestling. Half of arm wrestling is winning. Half of arm wrestling is losing.
So let's say Devon Larratt comes here tomorrow.
Yeah.
So you're not going to grip up with him because you know he's going to beat you? No, you're going to grip up with him, aren't you?
Because you want to know what
and
it's
you
like.
want to know what that feels like.
Yeah.
Because there is no other Devon Larratt. You want to feel that, right?
Yeah.
And then you will take that information with you forever, right? And keep going.
And they spread it because, you know, think about, it's going to sound weird, but like all the people you've arm wrestled, that goes with you. And you can give that to other people. So like, let's say you've arm wrestled a bunch of people and just having all that, you can give it to a bunch of other people who will not meet that group of people, and you can give it to them. Yeah.
Right. So everyone that I arm wrestle who's stronger than me, who's undeniably stronger than me that I can't win against, that person, me arm wrestling them, is making me stronger.
Yeah, like iron sharpens iron or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
So let's say I was at the top of the mountain and nobody could beat me.
Yeah.
That sounds worse than if everybody can beat me and I'm struggling to learn and get stronger.
But then you're lonely at the top.
You're lonely.
Who else
at
could
the
you
top.
compare yourself to?
Well, that's why you can't really be at the top that long, right? You're at the top, but the wolves are hungry.
Yeah.
And one day they're going to take you out. So you can only stay there as long as you can
That's another
keep
thing,
those
the
wolves
drive.
away.
People, once they get to the top, maybe they don't have that same hunger or drive because maintaining and staying there, people don't like, you know, they autopilot their, you know, when they're on top. But when they're back on bottom, then they rush to get back to where they were. That's when they try harder. But I don't want to say I think about it like that because I don't think about it like that. I don't even think he does. We just want the experience, and we just, you know, wherever it goes,
because the more experience, the better.
Yeah,
exactly.
Because
we're not in a rush.
Yeah,
I mean, listen, getting better takes time, and you know, as they say, like the turtle or the rabbit. You know, the turtle will win because he takes his time and then he perfects his skill. And that's why he becomes better than the rabbit. Because the rabbit wants to cheat, wants to take the roids, wants to take all this stuff to make himself better. But there's a cost, there's a price. It's like you're selling your soul to the devil.
And imagine you both end up at the same goal. You both end up at the same goal. And the difference is one guy took a little longer. Or might have not, but the other guy got there faster and he peaked.
Or, you know, like the tortoise and the hare, right? The race from start to finish is this long ass race. Let's say it's 3 to 7 years.
Yeah.
So like the fucking rabbit is going to be like, oh, fuck these 7 years or fuck these 3 years. I want to stop. I want to stop and not be in the race for a while. And then I'll cheat my way back to where the tortoise is there because in the meantime, while the tortoise is crawling, I'm over here fucking doing blow and getting fucking blowjobs with these fucking hookers and getting fucking renting Lamborghinis and doing roids, right? Because I'm fucking Dan Bilzerian or some shit like that on Instagram.
Shit.
And then the tortoise keeps on going, and then the fucking roided out fucking rabbit catches up with him. But then at the end of the 3 to 7 years, the finish line is right here, and the tortoise is that much ahead, and he fucking wins, and he keeps his life, and the fucking rabbit loses. Right, that's basically, I think, what you were saying.
Yeah, no, listen, exactly.
It's just
it's not only just like losing.
Another thing,
they're losing. They're not. It's not like the spirit of their arm wrestling, like what they used to have. Like maybe at a time they maybe thought similar to like how we're thinking right now.
But maybe they lost.
But they lost themselves when they gained like a taste of power.
Yeah.
So like they say, like when you get a taste of power, you know, greed comes in.
Or they lose and they get stonewalled and they're like, how do I get past
what is
this guy?
important? You know, like sometimes people, like in situations like, for instance, maybe a family, for example, like maybe you can have somebody in your family that does not like somebody else, or maybe they're jealous, or maybe there's like greed or whatever. But the point is, do not allow greed or just popularity to make yourself want to admire these people, to like do these drugs,
But it's also expensive. It's very expensive.
Not only that, but you should think for yourself.
Yeah.
You shouldn't let other people think for you.
It's not realistic to buy that stuff every month.
First, your health. Your health is your priority. Then, win or lose.
Well, let me ask you this. Let's say you're on roids, and you had it all figured out because you planned it for 3 years to take these roids.
Yeah.
And you planned it so good that you're like, I'm going to be healthy and no one's going to know and it's going to be fine, right?
Yeah.
Here's the problem with that. And like, look at Leo from Leo and Longevity, right?
Yeah.
For a fucking certain period, you're on those roids and you're fucking flying high. And then you got to come off with those roids. You got to come off those roids. Are you going to be able to handle now having a skinny little neck and no fucking delts and your fucking dick doesn't work and there's something wrong with your balls and you're fucking getting gray hairs at the age of fucking 30 and your fucking beard doesn't come in and this and that just because you did those roids and you were flying high. And then what are you going to do after?
I just want
to do roids again sometime because you got to come back.
I was going to say, they even say, do you know that they say if you take roids like from 20 to 25, you're going to hinder your future possible peak of fitness? Like they say,
of course you are.
If you do roids, you're going to ruin your maximum potential.
Your brain isn't developed until after 25, so you're fucking ruining your brain.
No, even physically, they say you could have a higher peak naturally if you do it over time.
Of course.
But they're saying with roids, you're going to destroy, they say, your androgen receptors, and they say SARMs is even worse with that.
Right.
You're going to destroy your receptors. It's
you want those balls or not?
Yeah.
Right? You want to have a dick that works or not?
Yeah, I want my...
Some people don't, right?
And they're like...
Some people just cut it off.
They say, I was going to have kids anyways. I'm circumcised.
Right.
Or
maybe they're like, in 5 years, I'm going to have a vagina. So don't worry about it, right? I don't know.
Right? Who wants fucking tiny little... peanuts and a the smallest banana in the world? I mean,
some people do, right?
I mean, that's just so dumb. I mean, if anything, if you don't take it, you'll have better health. You'll have
more money. It's expensive.
You'll have bigger. You'll have like balls the size of I don't know, like.
At least walnuts.
Yeah, well,
and he was crushing walnuts. Notice, he was crushing.
Or maybe
walnuts.
the size of skulls. Or
now
something.
they're gonna. Oh man, they're crushing walnuts for arm wrestling. Oh my god.
Yeah.
No, but basically the only thing is, I don't know if we could convince. I would, because the Europeans, dude. This is just a part of it. Like I feel like with a lot of Europeans, not all of them, but I think a lot of like the Eastern Europeans, like the Slavic or Baltic, ones. Those guys, I think steroids is more part of their culture, and it's going to be harder to like tell them like not to do it, because then they're going to see like, well, I want to be the best athlete I can be. Well, they're thinking of themselves as an athlete in performance, but I don't think they're thinking of themselves as like people anymore. Humans are like,
I mean, no, that's where it crosses the line.
Well, let me wrap this up a little bit because let's say the problem with roids is they're always going to be there in sports at the elite level, so don't even worry about that, right? What we're worried about is like regular young kids on Instagram that think that they need the goddamn roids, right?
There was the kid who was 13 or 14 and he was taking like the guy named Big Natty Daddy. He was only not even 15 and he was taking the strongest stuff. Mm-hmm. It's just stuff like that. You can't. It's like crazy.
None of that works out well. No, never does. So the thing about it is, I look at arm wrestling as something that the only reason I have fun is not because I'm like some guy who's alone and I'm worried about winning and losing. And there's a lot of guys that are good that way because they're really gifted, right?
Yeah.
My vision is different. I invite people and weekly I host this thing so that we can have like 10 to 15 people here.
Yeah.
And I get joy from that. And then I get enough of a workout from that. And what I realized recently is that I have to tell myself to stop, because if I don't stop early, I'll hurt too much and I won't get the benefit. So I can stop early and still get the benefit.
Yeah.
So actually, I get to enjoy everyone's company. I get to pull everybody on a weekly basis, and I get to see how everyone else is improving. And I get to see the gifted people get better, which is the main thing. And I get to be part of this thing so that we can all stay in touch.
Yeah.
And we get to meet awesome people. So that's why I do it.
Yeah.
And if you're not doing it for that reason and you want to do other stuff, maybe consider my point of view and because maybe you haven't. And maybe that will make you see it in a different way and go, oh, that's what it is. I never realized that that's what it is. Because a lot of people get demoralized because it's just about them and whether they can lose or not, and their arm hurts or something, and then they don't want to do it again. And I'm saying, well, maybe you're just looking at it as too narrow of a thing because that's not what it has to be.
Look at all the negatives.
Yeah. So if you want to, take stuff to improve your game, so eat well. Count your calories, count your macronutrients, take your vitamins, take creatine if you want, right? Some people don't want creatine because it makes you hold too much water or something, right?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Creatine's naturally in meat and stuff. And
I don't think you really need creatine, Some people, they get a lot out of it. But look, do you really need it? Who knows?
No.
You probably don't even need it.
Yeah, it's not essential.
And especially if you eat plenty of meat protein anyway, you probably don't even need it.
Vegans don't get it. Vegans could, take creatine, I guess.
But maybe you realize you do need it if you cycle off of creatine and then cycle on it, and then your body responds, and then you cycle off of it, and then you cycle on.
Yeah, like a hard responder.
So then you'll notice it. But if you're just indefinitely on creatine, maybe you don't.
And
really
there's a lot
it.
of people who take stuff out of habit, like a placebo effect and stuff.
Yeah, so creatine, I only bring that up because that's the most benign thing that is shown to work.
It's the most studied.
So if you want to do something, try that out, do that, But don't be getting into these dangerous unknown things, and even something so sublime as MK677, which is some stupid shit.
It sounds like science when you hear it, just the way he's saying it sounds like some crazy.
Yeah, it's what is that?
Experiment.
Why would I take something that sounds like a fucking machine gun? What the fuck is that, right? So then, and the crazy thing is, you can get it on Amazon. And you could, and they made ruin your life.
And they made different. Oh, it's crazy how that stuff's legal, but they made other supplements. I found out on Amazon, they made NAC legal.
Isn't that amazing? Because I used to buy NAC,
and it's illegal now on Amazon.
And it's amazing to me that you can't get it now because
you can buy that other shit.
And there's nothing wrong with NAC because it's a precursor to glutathione, which is one of the most important things for your body, right? Especially as for building muscles and health and immunity and all that stuff. So that's just. I didn't even know that until a week or two ago. The NAC, I still have a bottle of NAC, and I'm holy shit, I should have got more.
The stock.
Right? But anyway, whatever. That's just glutathione, and whatever. There's so many things you can learn. But honestly, if you just keep it simple and you eat right and you sleep enough and you train regularly, you're going to be fine.
Yeah.
And the thing is, though, arm wrestling is not everything. So what I realized too, you guys do anything else besides arm wrestling?
We used to we used to do a lot of physical stuff, but that's
But training wise, to take it seriously and
not really.
You don't do anything else, right?
No, not really. We don't. That's the thing. People say, "Oh, you don't even look like arm wrestlers." We don't do.
Yeah, but what does an arm wrestler look like, right? People don't really know.
Yeah, but we don't do bodybuilding or any of that stuff. So that's why I was surprised with all these people, these crazy backgrounds, and they're doing it. It was just basically arm wrestling and other stuff because
the majority, I just usually just do running. Sometimes I'll go out the neighborhood or I'll walk to there's a deli that's right near our house.
Yeah.
I'll usually sometimes take a little jog there, maybe a 10-20 minute, there and then back.
And besides that, another thing is besides the sleep and the training and the eating, you also got to tell people a lot of people. Just don't do, don't drink or do drugs or don't listen, smoke.
Right, alcohol. Don't take.
Alcohol is the most worst for your anabolic androgenic. It's one of the worst things. It's so anti-catabolic.
It's horrible for your liver, and if your liver's not working right, nothing else will.
Yeah.
The only thing I'll give just advice to anyone is just stay healthy. Don't take something that will damage you in the long run.
Don't get peer pressured.
Yeah,
don't let your friends
don't let anyone peer pressure you because people who get peer pressured, I'm sorry, but it's gonna cost you or
It'll
damage
make
your.
you feel good.
It may
good,
make you feel good in the
good.
beginning, but then in the long run, it's gonna make you feel so terrible as you get older.
I learned it
And then
from you, all right?
Oh,
I learned it by watching you.
Oh my god!
I was so freaking inspired. I was so inspirationed.
Oh, wait,
I
let me
can't.
try,
I can't
wait.
understand. I'm just so happy for you.
Dude, bro, I
You
got
made my
these
nuts
pills.
shrunk. Look at
Dude.
my little nuts.
My son, dude, you learned
Look at my tiny little
Dude,
penis.
look at that guy, bro.
He's so small.
That bro, dude, look at him. He looks like a chick, bro. Dude, I'm on these pills, bro. my leg.
these little fucking
Dude,
pills,
look
man.
at his arm, dude. He got
You
oil.
feel, man.
Look
a
at
little
that guy.
nutty.
He could destroy
Little
you.
nutty here.
I'm sorry.
I love these nuts.
How much do you weigh?
I'm honestly now. I think I'm 160.
Oh, wow.
I think
Yeah.
I lost weight because it
He
fluctuates.
used to be like
I used to
180,
90, no, like-
190.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
I lost weight.
He lost a lot of weight.
Yeah,
Mm.
I lost.
Is crazy.
So you guys being brothers and all that shit, you know how you eat. Do you guys eat the same or you guys eat different?
No, I think it's the same.
Yeah.
I think we eat the same.
Yeah, we eat
honestly.
the same. Yeah.
I
So
mean, yeah.
will you guys lose and gain weight mysteriously while eating the same? Or is it because he changes something?
I think it's I changed something. I might eat less,
Yeah,
or
Like, sometimes we change up, what we eat, but we do
mostly for the
we,
part.
like we share food,
yeah, we share.
you
the
know,
same.
like with everything.
Or it's like it's gonna
Yeah.
sound random, but like sometimes there's days, and I know it sounds weird, but like the intermediate fasting, I did that by accident
Yeah.
without even knowing it was. Because there's days where like I don't like eating breakfast, and I skip it, and I eat once.
like there are sometimes where
eating once a day
we
is
don't
what I
eat for a certain amount of like maybe like for like sometimes like a day maybe we'll eat like one thing, but we'll try to eat like less food.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Because or sometimes there's like times where we'll maybe not eat in it for a day and then maybe eat like the next day.
Well, that's really healthy. Like periodic fasting in general, whether it's
Yeah.
intermittent fasting for like 16 hours
Yeah.
or like you don't do it at all, but then you'll fast 24 hours or 48 hours
Yeah.
or 72
We didn't
hours.
even know that was the way people did it in the past, but apparently people didn't do it because it was like a fad or diet. They did it just that's how life was.
Well, yeah, that's if you think about it. Yeah. Like, you're not eating constantly because there's no stores and refrigerators. So you're just surviving, right?
Yeah.
And your body, like naturally heals itself and makes itself stronger so that you can survive when you're not eating, right?
Yeah.
So you have to eat fats so that when you're not eating, you're living off the fat. And, that's one of the most important things that I learned recently is that, people look at fat as this evil thing.
It's not.
I mean,
No, it's
Because
not.
your hormones like testosterone, estrogen is made out of fat. Your cholesterol,
Yeah, so
there's
you
good and
need
bad
cholesterol.
cholesterol,
You
LDL, HDL.
Exactly. If you don't have those cholesterol levels high enough, you think you're going to have any testosterone?
The only thing I worry about in
also,
the
wait,
future
I
is
just
what?
I just wanted to say this. Have you ever seen those like videos of pigs and cows and they have the freaking muscles? Like they're
Oh, yeah.
bulky.
Belgian blue.
The Belgian
Oh my god!
blues,
Like
yeah.
you see like these pigs and these cows.
But that's bad for arm wrestling. You know why?
Jesus Christ, they
I
look
found
so
out-
mutated.
No, listen, I found out if you lower myostatin, that's the thing. There's follistatin and myostatin. I found out if you lower myostatin, it's good for your muscles, but it gets rid of a bunch of other beneficial
Well,
inhibitors.
first of all, there's no real way to lower it.
Yeah.
They're working
they're
on it.
genetically they're doing
I mean,
it, but it's bad for arm wrestling.
do-
They're saying that
let me ask you. Do you think those animals like feel pain when
Oh,
they
yeah.
have all that fat on them? Like that.
it's like they might be in
like
pain
their
from-
calves and everything. It's all
like they don't
bulked
look
up.
happy. Yeah, they don't.
They look depressed.
I bet you they taste good.
So,
though.
oh, I can't even. It's like biting a brick.
I bet you taste
It's like,
yummy.
you look so good,
You know?
but you feel so depressed. Like all these bodybuilders. they
Now I'm going to
probably
tell
feel
you
amazing, but they
this.
probably
I like
have
saying I
one.
want you. Now we can do this the easy way. We can do this the hard way. The choice is yours.
No, but one other thing I want to talk about before I know it has to end soon is like the thing with the food. I think maybe I already said it. Maybe we've been doing this for long. I already forgot what I said, but I just want to say there's stuff like I'm worried about in the future where we're taking for granted like the kind of nutrition we have now because there's going to be shortages and they're saying, oh, there could be meat shortages and all this stuff. And they're also saying that like soil depletion is a thing, like it's affecting the nutrition of our food and the farming land and how many more lands and acres are they going to have to find until we run out? And then like that Avatar movie, how they think, oh, everyone's going to be eating like spirulina or blue green algae to survive. Even though I'll say this randomly, you shouldn't do that because there's cyanobacteria and all this random stuff. Like there's hidden dangers to those superfoods. Everyone's like saying, oh, I just take it and I put it in my smoothie. There's a lot of hidden dangers. You got.
Well, it's all marketing, right?
It's
like
all-
as soon as they teach you that spirulina and chlorophyll or whatever the fuck phytonutrients,
You got to
right?
watch out.
And
That's
it's-
you can go
know,
copper crazy.
No.
You can easily go out and buy some stupid shit. You don't even know what you're doing.
It could be laced with heavy
Like
metals.
you see these commercials and they promise you these things, but then when you use it,
I stay
And
away
it's all
from
a bunch of-
everything
They
that's
even
advertising.
They even
Yeah.
worry about the effectiveness of omega-3 in the future because you can even look it up. Like, ever heard of like, yeah, there's deforestation. There's even a version of in the ocean where in the ocean there's like pockets of the ocean that in like space, like on the little camera on space, that look dead and depressed, like dead zones of the ocean. And they say it's where all like the plankton died, or all the little like, what are they called? Like krill or plankton, they all died. And that's what fish and all that stuff eats to get the omega-3s, because people think, oh, I take fish oil to get my essentials. You know where they get it from? They didn't just get born with it, they eat it. So they're afraid that if we ever kill that off in the future, like the thing with sharks and how people take, they kill the sharks because they supplement with shark cartilage. The benefits that they say they get from shark cartilage, they actually meant it was a marketing thing. They get it from shark liver oil, even though the dangers with like shark liver oil or cod liver oil is that it could have mercury. Same thing with the liver tablets. It could have mercury in them because like your liver gets a lot of those like, they used to advertise at the Bibles, it's like nature's multivitamin, but it's got a lot of extra stuff too. So yeah.
I mean, but sharks, I mean, it's sad what they do to them, honestly.
You know, the only reason why sharks are still being hunted that way for their fins is because I believe it's the Chinese.
Yeah.
There's this whole thing, and probably other cultures too, other Asian cultures,
Yeah.
where
Japan.
the shark,
The
probably
dolphins.
maybe Japan, the shark fin is used in elixirs and soups to supposedly
like
give a man his vitality, right?
No,
and they're murdering these poor sharks, cutting the fin off and
No,
throwing them back in
it's
the ocean
gonna-
without the
and,
fin.
and then the shark drowns.
It's terrible.
and it's- they
How the
just-
fuck could you do
They
that?
can't
Yeah.
even swim back up. And
Yeah.
the thing is, it's like you're not even giving them a chance, and you're doing it for some superficial
he-
study.
Here's the thing: like sharks are a very important part of like the ecosystem.
Right.
You take that away, you are breaking that.
I mean,
ecosystem.
granted, they have no soul like Mark Zuckerberg because they have the same fucking eyes, but still,
No, I think sharks have more
they
soul
play
than
a
that
role.
guy.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
I think because they didn't ask for it. They're like, they didn't do anything. They didn't like, hey, mom, dad, where you going? Oh, why is that guy taking you? Oh, and he came back. Where's your arms? You can't arm wrestle anymore, dad. It was like,
It's terrible. Yeah, it's horrible.
oh my God. It's just, all I could say is just remember, don't do it like that. Do it different.
Well, look, so I just want to wrap this up by saying, I love the fact that you guys are brothers and you guys can arm wrestle at any time because that's important. Like, so one of the things that most of the people don't have and they seek out is constant opponents.
Yeah.
So they have to come to practice just to have the practice. You guys have the practice already, and you come to practice with the practice.
Yeah, I
so
mean,
you
I
guys
guess
are bringing
it
more
evens
to
out,
the table.
though. It evens out because, like I said, like these people, though, they like, they got weights, or they could have like a pulley thing or whatever. They might have that stuff and all the grip gear stuff. We don't got none of that. So, but I guess it evens out that we're brothers and that the arm wrestling.
Well, it's more important that you have another arm.
Yeah, even John Brzenk, what did he say about like, he said he was the strongest arm wrestling instead of the gym or something. I remember John Brzenk was saying a thing where,
all he did was arm wrestling.
and he said and he was the GOAT. So
Yeah.
even like with his dad, I don't think, maybe they worked out, but I think, like how they say, if you want to get better at tennis, play tennis. I guess if you want to get better at arm wrestling, do arm wrestling.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you for being on this podcast,
Thank you for
guys.
having us.
Thank you for being on All Things
Arm wrestling.
Yeah. And we're going to go and pull a little bit on
Okay.
camera so we have some footage and feel each other
Got it.
and do some crazy fucking scorpion and jellyfish thing, right?
Got it. Wait, don't you have a nickname? Do you have a nickname?
I don't really have a nickname, I don't think.
Okay.
You know, so it's like the thing about nicknames is someone has to give you a nickname and it has to stick. So that's when you know it's a good one.
Got
And
it. That's fair.
I don't know if I really have one yet. So
I think you'll get one soon if you don't already have one.
yeah, like I don't know. Like I can always make up some stupid shit, but I'll just fucking not say it.
Nah, that's fair.
You know?
No, it's cool when you get it from someone.
Yeah, and especially when someone sees you do something, they're like, you know what the fuck you are? You are, and then it sticks because everyone calls you that,
Oh, it's
and
like-
hopefully it's cool. Hopefully it's not like fucking Dickface McGee or something. Right.
Oh, that guy shreds. Oh, gnarly high tide.
No, it's
Dude, he made me experience high tide. Oh!
Oh, God, no.
yeah, like that. It's
Wow.
crazy.
That's quite something.
I'm sorry. Okay.
Yeah.
We gotta cut it. It's gonna go. It's gonna go on. too
That's
much.
hilarious.
Well, yeah, we've been doing this for.
Is this the longest one you've done? Or
I
is it
think
long?
so far. Yeah,
Hey, well,
so
you got
it'll be
two
a really good
people.
listen for everybody who's got.
I think they're going to be
Time.
Or
very
commute,
entertained.
If they have like, they gotta go.
Very.
Or they're gonna be like, I don't okay. That's it.
Yeah. Well, thanks, guys.
Thank
and,
you so much for having
we'll
me.
do this again sometime.
I hope so.
When we have, because there's always stuff to talk about, but we had to get this
Yeah.
out
Okay.
before we do the next one.
Yeah.
All right.
Let's-
Awesome.
Thank
All
you.
right.
Cool.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah.